Yo.
Oh, there he is.
Props
Mr.
for showing up.
Talker himself. There he is.
What's good, Elevation?
So,
All right.
Alex,
All
I
right,
don't
give
know
him
why
that work.
you
Let's
keep
go.
saying I don't come on. I've talked to you twice on your own channel, buddy, and I've been on this channel.
Well, what I don't understand is like, I mean, I guess like I gotta admire your like dedication, because I feel like you watch every single one of my streams, even when I go on other channels, just so you can talk shit like nonstop. So that's like the most insane hate watching I've ever seen.
I don't know. I mean, you can call me a hey watcher. I don't have a problem with that.
I mean, that's fascinating, bro. Like, do you do that with other people you hate? Like, you just
Is
like
this TNFS?
instead of watching like channels
No,
you
it's not TNFS. It's
you hate?
Elevation. I think.
But
I
it
don't
sounds
know. I
just like TNFS. I'm just saying.
I mean, Ashley, you're getting me to
Hold on,
question
hold on.
reality now.
Let's have
we'll
Alex
finish
and
this
Elevation
out.
go at it. I want to.
So that was a question. So do you
Thank
do this
you,
with like other content creators you don't like?
Yeah, of course. I did it to John Anthony. I hate watch many people, bro.
Okay. Do you watch any channels that you like, or you only watch channels you dislike?
No, I only watch channels that I hate. That is correct.
Okay, that's interesting way to live your life.
But I mean,
guess.
come on. You have to admit that Ashley had a point.
Wait, Elevation. Can you explain how you think that Alex exposed himself?
Dude,
I
can we
just saw that
please
in the
let the
chat.
gentleman here duke it out?
Yeah,
Sorry.
don't worry. I'm getting to it.
Oh,
All right,
thank you,
Elevation. So it seems like literally like every single time on, you just talk nonstop shit. So what are your biggest points of contention would be?
Okay, no worries. I can bring up multiple issues. The latest one is exactly what Ashley said. The idea that you can produce some sort of inner psychological change within a month, I think that's bullshit. That's why I was typing.
I said it takes over a month, at least a month. So I didn't say a month. I said minimum.
Yeah, sure. You said at least a month. Yeah.
So that could be that's upwards of 5-10 years. Yeah, it takes more than a month. Do you disagree with the fact?
Okay. Now,
Wait, do you disagree with the fact that intergame changed?
This is what you do every time, by the way. You always say one thing and then modify it when I come on and talk to you.
No, I said at least a month.
The last time this happened, you said that you didn't care about clout chasing, right? You said that wasn't part of your goal at all. But then you modified what you said, and now you're saying.
Okay, literally what I said was it takes at least a month.
Do you think that's a big leap going from 1 month to 10 years? I think that's a pretty giant leap.
Okay, again, I said at least a month. So what part of that statement do you disagree with? Do you think it's less than a month?
No, I think you were more accurate when you said 5 to 10 years. Okay,
I said again, well, 5 to 10 years is the same thing as at least a month, because 5 years is more than a month.
Okay, we have to disagree with that one.
Well, no, there's really nothing to disagree here. I said at least a month. Chad, you can fact check me on that, but I said at least a month. So 5 years would be at least a month. 3 months would be at least a month. Anything that's more than a month is at least a month. So if you think that it's less than a month, then we have a disagreement. But if you think it takes more than a month, then there's no disagreement, because I said at least a month. Like, I understand that, like, English is not your native language.
Okay. I mean, you can play it that way, but saying at least a month implies for at least some substantial percent of group of people or wannabe PUAs or wannabe seducers of women are going to achieve that in at least a month. I think you were much more accurate when you said between 5 to 10 years. I think that's far more reasonable.
5 to 10 years is at least a month. Like, I think you're struggling with the English language, but 5 to 10 years is at least a month, because it's more than a month.
Again, I've already addressed this. So,
well, there's okay. We'll have to do like basic mathematics. So, a month is 30 days. So, what are some numbers that are more than 30 days?
At least a month is not 5 to 10 years, right? It's just not 5 to 10 years.
We got.
Wait, so what are you guys actually arguing now?
We got to take it back to like.
So are you Elevation? Are you arguing that it doesn't take at least a month to do the transformation, or are you arguing on the numbers aspect of it, like 5 years in comparison to 30 days?
Yeah. What I'm arguing is that people with severe inner game issues will not get their inner game issues resolved in at least a month. It will
But
take
that's not what he's saying he meant, though.
Absolutely
multiple
agree.
years.
And that is what he said earlier, Duke.
Dude,
That is.
I don't know if you're being purposely like obtuse. At least a month means any time period that's more than 1 month. That could mean 2 months. That could mean 5 years. That could
Yeah,
mean
that's literally
100 years. Again, it's anything that is more than 1 month. So 29 days would not qualify as at least a month.
Alex,
because
you
at
said
the least
deep
being the very
interpersonal
minimum.
changes.
At
Deep
most, it
interpersonal
could be
changes.
like 5 to 10 years. At the least, very least, 30 days. At the most, 5 to 10 years.
Sorry,
No, at
That
least
can be an easy
30
way to
days
say
is
it.
a
If-
habit.
Listen,
With 5 to
Ashley,
10 years.
I
It
would
just
agree with
isn't.
you, Ashley.
It doesn't matter how you
definitively
frame
said, hang
it.
on.
Saying at least a month is not identical to 5 to 10 years. It doesn't matter
No,
how
no,
you
no,
frame it.
no,
That's
but
just
it's
not
like
the
it's
same.
like, but it's the
I
starting
don't-
range, though, right? Because at least
don't
a
know how
month,
someone can do this
least,
that
and
Dude,
it's a
dude,
starting
you
minimum
can,
range.
I can say at least a month includes 50 to 100 years. See, I can
Or like-
modify it too.
It
It
does.
makes no sense.
If
No,
you
that-
order a
that is-
takeout and they said it's going to take you at least 30 minutes, the least that it's going to take 30 minutes for your order to get ready, right? Is it saying it's going to take like exactly 30 minutes, or is it saying it's a minimum of 30 minutes that you have to wait?
That's actually a good analogy, because I think that analogy works against you. If someone
How
says
does it work against?
if someone says at least 30 minutes, no one's going to expect that person to be to be ready 10 years later, 5 years later, 2 years later, even 12 hours later, even 24 hours later. They've just said at
So if
least
someone
30
says,
minutes. So
when
yeah,
can I
that's a
expect
good
this
analogy.
to? If someone says, when can I expect to start seeing results, right? And someone says, at least 30 days, right? So you're not saying that that's some measure of
Is it a
scale?
one size fits all
Dude,
analogy?
dude,
That's ridiculous.
results
I
is
mean,
not the same
yeah,
as
again,
inner game
like,
transformation.
I don't know how like you're struggling this much with the idea that anything that is more than a month qualifies as at least a month. But okay, at this point we're just like kind of arguing semantics. That seems like a really random point. Wait, hang on, shut the fuck up for a second. That seems like a really random
I
statement to
never
like
contested
to
the
like
claim
fucking
that someone might
grandstand.
achieve a couple of outer game results within a month, right? I was referring to deep inner psychological change and transformation.
Yes, and I said that it takes more than a month, which is
No,
correct.
your original statement was not that, which is what spurred all of this.
I said at least a month, which is the same thing as more than a month.
No, you literally said that deep interpersonal changes can happen within 40 days.
I said I believe I said at least 30 days.
Okay, so even less then.
No. At least 30 days means more than 30 days.
Is there some
Bro,
sort
honestly, I
of
think it just comes down to how people are interpreting this,
Yeah,
bro.
I don't know how.
Right. That's why.
Because
That's why.
if someone says at least 30 minutes, then I know they could possibly take longer than that, right?
But
Otherwise,
I
you wouldn't-
still
if you
question
wouldn't-
that. I mean, I
otherwise,
think
you
I
wouldn't
agree
start
that
with the
30
range.
At least 30
means
minutes.
more than
I
thirty
don't
12
actually
hours,
think
no
that's
If
what
someone
we
says,
frame
if
it.
someone
We
says,
rewind
if someone says at least 30 days, but no greater than 5 years, and that's what I'm
Yeah,
trying to tell
dude.
you. You're starting
The
to
chat,
range.
the chat is weighing in on this. So he said, Alex.
Yeah,
always
guess the number between 1 and 100.
I don't know what.
Good job, guys.
What? I'm not sure.
How does that make sense? You can get
I don't
any
know.
number.
How does that make sense? Because you said we could say 30 minutes to 5 years. Fuck
At
off.
least
What do you
30
mean,
minutes
how-
to 5 years.
Oh,
At
at
least
least. I'm so
means
sorry. At least.
Yeah, you can't forget that. Otherwise, one
Right.
one makes it a definitive
Right.
statement.
Yeah.
The other
At
one
least
gives
30
you range.
minutes up to
That's the
5
difference.
years.
All right, where does
Yeah,
the 5
nothing.
years come into play? Where's the 5 years?
Well,
come
Ashley
into
I don't
play?
know.
brought
Duke
it up.
said
Because
it.
I've seen
when I
18
got
to
on the
I don't know how people are
When I
struggling
got
with
on
the
the
concept so
call,
much.
Alex,
At
Alex
least
changed the narrative. He said 5 to 10 years when I pointed it out. That's when
No,
the
I
5
never-
to
I
10
used-
years mark came into it. When I came
no,
on the
dude.
call.
No. That's factually untrue. I said 5 to 10 years to
That is true.
Wait, just shut the fuck up for a second. I said 5 to 10 years to communicate the point that all of that qualifies as at least a month. So
I think
wasn't
we
saying-
need to rewind and
I
rewind.
wasn't saying
that
okay.
out.
Well, the fact
I
the
don't
chat
agree.
fact check me on that, but yeah. So what I was saying is that anything that is more than 30 days qualifies as at least a month. That could be 5 years. That could be 3 months. That could be 2 months. It could be 1 year.
Alex.
All of that is at least a month.
I got it even better. I actually Googled this, right? Because we got some retarded people on the street.
It doesn't
right?
matter what you
Googled
Google, Duke.
at least.
If you
It's
rewind and watch what Alex said,
Ashley,
I know, but
the fucking
you know,
definition, Ashley.
your
literally
point
says
is moot,
a
Duke.
phrase,
The
not
definition
less
doesn't
than,
matter. We're
or
arguing
at
what Alex.
minimum.
All right,
At
whatever.
minimum.
This is ridiculous. This is
Yeah,
absolutely stupid.
I think we're blowing it up to be bigger than what it is.
No,
So
I think that you guys don't understand that Alex.
So someone is saying there's at least
what? This
30
is like
days. There's more
arguing
than that.
an S-shaped poop means you have a healthy colon. Like,
Look,
what the
wait,
fuck
what?
does this
Why are we
matter?
saying
Let me
What is the
try.
price of tea and
I know I have
coffee?
IBS.
I'm gonna take my shot and see if my translation
This is so
helps you
stupid.
understand the problem.
Christ.
The
As much as
definition-
I don't want to
the definition is not
prolong
the
this argument,
The
What are we
argument
arguing?
is
As long-
what did Alex say?
as
What
much as
did
I don't want to
Alex say?
prolong this argument, here's
my
my shot in the dark. The issue isn't the like facts of it being
I
that
agree,
it
CIA.
could be a month or longer. It's because the fact that you said at least a month, it like puts an expectation around it
That's
being
not
a
even
short
what he
amount
said,
of
though.
time, where it
That's
could be
not-
like typically
Literally
way
said-
longer
he
than that.
literally
let's
said
not
40
go-
days, and you
Exactly.
take.
You
Oh,
Lando
okay.
nailed it. Thank
I said at least a month.
It's not that you're wrong that it could take at least a month. The wrong part about that statement is that it gives off like a perception that it would
It's the
typically
month part.
take a
Let-
short
let-
amount of
let-
time
Obviously,
where
I'm
you
not
should
gonna
put more.
say 30
Let-
days.
let me-
But
But
like
he actually didn't even say that. He said that it takes about 40 days. He didn't
Pull
say
it up. Actually,
at
pull up
least.
the clip.
Yeah, because somebody run
Somebody
that.
pull it up. I can't. I'm on a fucking
I
iPhone.
can't, yeah, I'm on my mobile
Because
too.
the chat,
Hmm.
someone just fact checked me on that. And
I
It's
let's-
have a
the
great
autism
memory.
channel.
When it comes
I
to
don't
what
know which
people
one.
say, I can
Okay.
quote verbatim
you
what
want
somebody.
to put some money on it? I'll pull up the clip
Yes,
right
Alex, I do.
Yeah.
No,
Wait,
you know what I want to put on it, Alex? You know what I want to put on it?
Yeah,
You
Alex,
sent
pull it
Sarah
up.
a
Actually
Hitachi. I
Actually
need
put
one now.
10,000 on it
If
right
I win, now I get a Hitachi. Okay.
Get
Okay,
actually a
I will
chocolate man.
100% do that. If you win, I'll give you a Hitachi. But
You
if
did not say at least. It
by the
takes
way,
at least.
Okay,
I'm willing
if
to
you
put
like,
money on.
wait,
Tinder,
hang on.
by the way.
Elevation, be quiet.
I'm
trying to have a
willing to
conversation
bet
with
and gamble.
But if you're wrong, you have to just straight up say, I was wrong. I'm a silly Willy, and
I'm a
yeah,
silly Willy.
I'm okay with that. I had some more things, but I don't want to like insult you. So yeah, let's do that. Okay, I'll pull it up
Insult
right
me,
now.
my
Alex.
God.
Insult me.
No, I don't want to.
Well, your
Okay.
traps look nice tonight.
Oh man, this is an interesting stream. I'm gonna have to find a good thumbnail for this one.
Okay,
Dude,
so
every
But I think what
stream come
Elevation
on
was-
is the best stream. Literally,
Yeah, I
every
think-
fucking time I come on here, it rules.
Yeah, I think what
No,
Elevation was
great.
trying to
The
say is
Chronic
that
one, the Chronic versus Mr. Slave one was kind of funny.
what
Okay,
Elevation
wait,
was trying to say
hang
is
on.
that the verbiage matters. Like you can say two different things and they're both factual, but
Yes.
one like has different. It emphasizes more of like one
Alex
thing,
did
whereas
not
the other
But
one
I
emphasizes the other
understand
thing.
what Alex is
I
saying
cannot-
though,
I
because
cannot pull up the thing.
I understand what
One
he's
can
saying
be
if
more
that's what he
misleading
actually
than the
said,
other.
Brad, but it's
no, but
not.
I understand because like
wait.
it is annoying if people nitpick like your words.
Okay, guys, wait. Can we
Oh,
just
is
Yeah,
that
no,
so
I
annoying,
understand
Brad?
why. Yeah,
When people
exactly,
nitpick
Brad.
that you say
I'm
that
with you on.
Let me pull this
It
up.
is.
I'm with you on that, Brad.
At
Like if
least
you're just trying to just say shit and you get nitpicked on small shit,
Make a
like,
fundamental
yeah.
life change
Come on,
in
let's-
40 days.
Let's be
That is
honest,
not
man. Let's be honest.
nitpicking.
I don't know why they're called nitpicking.
Yeah, see, this
When
is
you
why I
say
don't
at
agree
least a
with them,
month,
CIA.
that does not indicate 5 to 10
I mean,
years. They're
Master.
two
Okay, I'm pulling it
completely
up.
separate category.
Okay, I
Yeah,
don't
yeah, I
know
got
how
you.
you struggle with basic mathematics so much, but okay, let's just play this and we can like move on to the next thing. But I'm gonna.
Bullshit.
You're playing back.
And I think that's what a lot of people.
What? I have feedback. Okay, let me get my headphones.
No,
Hold on.
not feedback. Sorry, I meant like you're playing it back. You're good, bro. You're good.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right, let's just get this out of the way.
I think your sound is good. Yeah.
Especially with Rolo Tomasi, he does that shit a lot.
Rolo.
Yeah. Like I think that's a sign. Like, okay, I did a coaching call, for example, about YouTube with Anthony Johnson. Right, he has like 500,000 subs. It was before this, right? I think. Yeah, it was before this.
Like, oh, the Ashley. That's not true. Like the women.
If we really want to
Yes,
nitpick
we
on
are.
that statement, I would say
Rules the
interchange
world,
doesn't
I'm
take
telling
time.
you.
It takes
Like,
experiences.
I can be a brat myself. Not that I would, but I can do like all that shit because the girl wants me, right?
Well,
Once you have her
take time, bro.
dickmatized.
Yeah, I
Well,
would
yeah,
say,
who doesn't
Bro,
who
that's when
doesn't
the
like
I miss you text come in.
who doesn't like
Where
having
you
power in a
at,
relationship?
bro? That's
Well, some
when
people
you
love it more
call.
than others. Like some people
I would
want
say
to
the
like,
benefit for me would be having to put less effort.
I'm not going to get power. The reason I don't do them is because I think it's lame and like I care about my integrity more than I care about making a profit.
Well, I was gonna say, I mean, number 2 and 3 sounds fine. Number 1 sounds
Right.
unethical.
Yeah, this is an interesting.
I would make the argument that maybe number one is probably more because in their profile and their texting, like it's not like something that needs to take a while. So if I'm and I've done a lot of coaching calls, so I've gotten like really efficient with
Master,
my
I agree with
wound
you
up
on looks
using,
for
like,
L.
2, which I found weird, but yeah, I
That's-
think it's just
Brody wanted a friend.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
saying, dude,
I think
like
just
I've
go
known,
Per call, holy shit, bro! I'd be like, I'll do 5 calls with you, bro. Like,
I mean,
Well,
like
yeah,
I've
that
known
sounds
guys
like one
in
call
the
is enough,
community.
right? Like you
Right,
killed
what's
it. Boom.
but he didn't really want any
I just
advice.
want
He
my
just wanted to like
3
chat.
30-minute
A
call.
one-on-one 12-week mentorship. You don't think you can keep getting the person better? Like, let's say the first week you give them all the advice, and then they come back to you on the second week and they're like, "Yeah, dude, I went."
Dude, no
He's
one's,
had
no
multiple
one's
videos go
disputing the
viral.
out of game
I did
results,
like
bro.
it was like
Of course you can
$200
be
for
kids
30
to
minutes.
get out of
But
game results.
I feel like he did a
You
good
can't
job
get
because
begin to
after
get
that 30
out-of-game
minutes,
results,
I didn't
but you
feel like I
cannot
needed
make
another coaching
permanent
call. Like,
inner
like super bad
transformation
approach
within 30
anxiety,
days.
or you don't have at least basic social skills,
okay,
don't do.
so that's a very small percentage of people who do boot camps. The vast majority who do boot camps, they have issues with their technical game. They also have internal issues, like they lack confidence. They're, whatever, all the inner stuff, maybe they're shy or they're, whatever, they have shame around sex. There's no way to fix that during 3 days. Inner change like that takes months and months and months. So
Yeah,
that's why
I agree. If you have like super bad approach anxiety, or you don't have at least basic social skills, don't do a boot camp.
No, but I think even if you have like not okay, so it was actually we're both wrong. It takes months and months and months.
Yeah, I heard that part.
damn. So
We're actually
I heard that part and I was like, damn. But then you said,
So you guys
Okay,
both
wait.
gotta say you're
So who
silly.
said that?
Oh,
Who said
wait,
it takes
hang on.
months and months and months?
Someone clarified. Wait, there's actually more information. Wait, hang on. Let me share.
Wait, who's coming on?
Wait.
Oh,
hold up.
Duke dropped off. He's coming back on. Hold up.
Bro.
Okay, wait. Let me share.
There we go.
Someone said there's like another quote that I have right afterwards. Okay.
Oh,
Share the screen.
yeah, keep playing that.
Yeah, Ganstar, I will just say his ratings are super fucking low. That's just,
Yeah, I just played it back, bro. Go to.
Okay, so there we go.
Negative 2151, bro.
Duke is taking this shit serious, but no,
Oh,
we have
sorry,
to play
I
it all the way
said
through
at
from
least
where
a
we
month.
where we
Wait.
Actually,
where
Okay,
we just
okay.
left off. Wait,
So
Duke.
said at least
Wait,
a
Yeah,
month.
bring that up again.
I
Bro,
said at least.
go to because on my stream. It's hold up. Let me take my Bluetooth off, and I'm about to play it right now.
Okay, so I said 2 statements. I said it takes months and months and months, and then I said it takes at least a month.
Yeah, you and then
keep
Ashley
playing
quoted
from where you left off.
The vast majority of people who do boot camps,
Some relaxer, yeah.
rip off, and furthermore, like
Deep inner change takes at least a month, guys.
I mean, at least, yeah, but also like okay, ours D's like
Yeah, at least. Yeah. I'm
Yeah, Ashley, you even quoted him, bro. Like,
Yeah, at
you
least
gotta
a month.
understand your own words.
Okay,
I
I love
Ashley,
how we're going
I
through
wanna
all
hear
this,
it.
Christopher.
I
No,
wanna
I
hear it.
concede. I'm a silly Nilly.
No,
Nah, you not silly.
Silly
You
Willy.
strong.
I'm a
You
silly
gotta know
Willy.
when
I
you're wrong.
concede.
How silly is your Willy, Ashley?
My Willy is so silly. I can't even.
Okay,
Is your silly Willy from Philly?
we're good.
My silly Willy is from Philly.
All right, elevation and
We're
Alex,
good.
let's get back at
I
it, bro.
apologize, Alex.
All right,
Yeah,
elevation.
it
What's your next
doesn't,
point?
it doesn't matter because no one's making a permanent inner game transformation within a month anyway. It doesn't exist. It's bullshit.
Why
He
is
already
it
got
so
past
shrill?
that. He didn't say within a month. He said at least.
Don't know
a
how
month.
someone
That's
can
a
do
different thing. All right,
Yeah, at least a month.
He said at least a month. That means it includes a month. You said 40 days, didn't
Oh,
you?
no.
Yeah. But
Includes
but
both.
we just googled it. At least means it's a very minimum, right? So at minimum, there's a month, right?
Exactly.
But
So
then
at the
but it
very
could take
minimum,
longer.
who
At least
has
a
made that
month.
sort of permanent
Any period
psychological
more than a
transformation
month.
in a month?
No one is saying a month. Earlier that I said it takes months, months, and months, and then I said at least a month. So at least a month implies that it's a period that's longer than a month. I think
Jesus.
you need to go back to elementary school mathematics. So this is something I knew when I was like fucking 7.
I'm sorry. That's
Jesus
not what at
Christ.
least.
Okay,
At least a month does
move
not
on.
imply a period longer than a month. It implies at least a month.
I still think that saying
That's what it means.
making deep psychological changes as early as a month is pretty.
Okay, I mean, I feel like this is a really weird.
Can we at least concur on that point or not?
I feel like this is a really weird argument.
No, bro, that's an odd
Like,
point
it's
to
like,
concede on.
fuck this Alex guy. He said at least a month. In a month, you guys are fucking faggot. I can't see it. He said at least a month. I feel like this is a really
That's what
weird.
I say about
You sound like
all the time.
Gangstar.
All the time.
But okay, let's move on to the next one. What's your next serious point of contention?
Well, Alex, for me, it's that your girlfriend is clearly a 2.
Oh, okay. That is
Okay, Gangstar over there.
Yeah.
All right, Elevation. What's your next point of contention?
Alex, the thing is that. Oh, wait, no, sorry, I almost call him Gangstar. Elevation. Go.
Wait, no, come on. Let's let Elevation answer the question.
Yeah, definitely.
What's your next point of contention, Elevation? Go ahead.
I mean, I have multiple points of contention, but that's probably the dear. I'm not even trolling at this point. That's probably the dearest one to my own heart because there's no one. I can agree with the Duke who I think he made the implication that someone can start to develop outer game changes and may experience some form of levels of results within a month. There's no problem with that, right?
Okay, we're moving past that, bro. We're moving past that.
The specific claim that permanent psychological change can occur at least within a month, with bare minimum within that time frame.
All right, bro. We're moving on to the next point of contention.
Dude, you can move on.
All right, bro. You said Elevation. You said something to
I still agree with Elevation on this.
Ashley,
wait, what?
Ashley, how can you?
What the fuck, Ashley?
If it's 3 months or 1 month.
Elevation. So are you
I
saying
love myself, okay?
Are you saying your only point of contention with me is like some semantic shit? Is this why you watch every single one of them?
No. What I said. The reason why that came up first is because I said it was nearest and dearest to me personally, right? But
it's a very ignorant and harmful thing to say.
Why did you just? I thought you were calling him out on his coaching in the chat, bro.
Relax, sir. We're gonna make him answer that after this.
Can we hear more?
Of course, I'm calling him out on his coaching. There's other issues.
No. But you said
he's too busy debate maxing.
He exposed himself because he was charging somebody 10 calls and only
wait. Let me just run with it a little bit. Okay, so I want to hear some other points of contention because you've been watching and talking shit.
Okay, no worries. Okay, so let me clarify. So the one about he got paid for 10 calls, but he only did 2 calls. That actually was trolling. So that I'm not gonna hold back on it. That was actual trolling. I was just doing that for a laugh. Because,
I thought so.
Let's hear some legit points of contention.
Interesting.
Okay, so the other one is which we've also discussed before, is the claim that John. What's his name? John Anthony Lifestyle is advanced game. That's another point of contention that I brought up to you before in the past.
Why?
Have you ever gone out with John? Have you ever watched him?
Dude, people hate to say it, but
I can only judge. Listen,
John is
I'll
advanced.
tell you the metric of evidence that I'm using. I watched 30 clips of his day game product. And sorry, not his day game product. One of his products in which included 30 clips of his day game. It was atrocious. It was appalling. The guy.
I think I know what you're talking about.
He does not have social skills.
Okay.
No, I'm not even trying to troll.
This guy is advanced.
Okay, so as you guys know, I really don't like John. So I would love to be able to say that he sucks, but that's just simply not the truth. I've gone out with the guy. I've seen him pull girls time and time again. So do you think a better metric is the fact that this guy's able to pull hot girls, or that some random dude on the internet doesn't like his infield?
I think the better metric is the evidence that he provides to people who don't know him online, and so the only evidence we can go by is actually what we see in the provided evidence given through him. and the evidence given through him.
Thanks.
I mean, at least if you grant this point,
I
I'll say you're
think
being
he pulls
open-minded and charitable.
volume.
It's
Right.
poor. It's terrible.
I'm
It's
sure
volume,
John has
right? So like
game, but
so like yeah, like not all of them are hot. Like just like say he pulls 100 girls and like 3 of them are hot and the rest of them are trannies. You know what I mean?
bro.
Gotta kind of.
No, it's just like not factually true. Again, I really hate the guy, but that's just like not factually
From-
true.
Okay, which isn't factually true? Which part?
The
No, he
idea
pulled
that
trannies,
he
but
pulled
it's not.
100 girls and like 97 of them are trannies. That's not true.
That's not true at all.
Dude, let me just say, can I
hang
say
on.
something real
Guys,
quick?
can I please
Yes,
just-
you can.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, Alex. Go.
I've gone out with him and I've seen the girls he pulls, and his quality can run the gambit, but there's a lot of fucking hot girls. A lot of them are fucking hot as fuck, right? So yeah, to say that he has no game, okay, well, the point of game is to get hot girls, and that is something that he has done countless times. So I don't know. I think that's like more.
Yeah, I just wasn't.
That supersedes your, opinion of his like infield.
I wasn't impressed when I seen.
want you to give me your honest opinion of his infield, though. If you just watched the infield that I have seen, all 30 clips of his day game, would you conclude that he is advanced based on the evidence that he himself has provided to us?
I think he's much better at night game than day game. I've only seen a few of his day game infield clips. I would think that he's decent. I wouldn't think he's as good as he is, but again, like he publicly says that he hates day game. He doesn't like to do it. He just did that for the product.
He does have a lot of pictures with a lot of hot chicks.
I was not impressed when I seen the infield with the other Josh guy. I'll be honest, that whatever he showed, I was like, okay, like that was just like, I mean, he's good. I've actually had one of my friends actually got his product, so like I can vouch.
Alex has a way better physique than Johnny.
Easily.
I agree, but that's not like really related.
Yeah, physique and game. No, I mean, yes, but we're comparing just the infield. Because I remember one of the last streams before the fallout that Alex did with John and his student, Josh or whatever, the other guy. Yeah, I just wasn't too impressed, and I said that he got triggered. They both got triggered.
I want to first establish Elevation's like level of credibility to see if he can even properly evaluate this. So, Elevation, what is your late count?
Oh.
I don't claim to be a dating coach, so I don't know.
I'll cue the Jeopardy theme song.
That's a fantastic answer to a question no one asked. I get. The question is, what is your late count?
Again, I'm not a dating coach. I'm not.
I understand you're not a dating coach. I understand you're not a dating coach.
So if I'm not a dating coach and I'm not selling a product, then what obligation do I have to tell you about my private life?
Because I want to see if you have the experience to properly evaluate his infield.
Okay, I can only give an opinion. I can't say my opinion is an expert opinion.
Once again, what is your late count? Stop dodging.
It's just an estimation.
I can only give an opinion. I didn't say I'm giving an expert opinion.
You're running away from this like a mofo. Okay, once again, what is your body count? What is your late count?
It's irrelevant.
No, it's not. Because if you have very low experience with girls, then you're not properly equipped to evaluate infield. If I have zero experience going to the gym, I cannot evaluate someone's bench press technique.
That's actually incorrect as well. That's actually incorrect.
What?
His lay count is not relevant to social skills. The two are completely different. The two are completely separate.
Okay, well, we don't have an infield of you, so I cannot evaluate your social skills.
The fact that pickup artists try to connect the two and then try to attach lay count to social skills is a non sequitur.
I actually agree 100% here, Elevation. I agree.
Let me debate this, dude. Ashley, Elevation, the fact that you're dodging this question so much implies that your lay count is really fucking low, if not potentially zero. Because I don't know why anyone else would dodge this question.
Okay, you can believe that. I don't care.
Well, because you won't answer the question. You're just running from the question.
It is completely irrelevant. I'm just checking the credibility of someone who does claim to be a coach.
Why can you not answer the question?
Who does claim to have competence in the area, and they're selling a product. So am I not entitled to investigate that?
Okay, once again, if you have no experience with girls, then you're not even.
Dude, I don't have to be an expert in order to evaluate a product to see if it will benefit me or not. I can just check.
How could you properly evaluate something that you know nothing about?
Okay, where in his product does he show his lays? What are you talking about? His
No, we're
product
talking
doesn't show
about
his
you. We're
lays.
talking about you and your ability to.
Is it more than
Well,
100 or less than 100? Like,
again,
I'm
we're
curious.
not talking about me because we're talking about
No, we
your
are
buddy,
talking about
John
your.
Anthony.
We're talking
No,
about
we're
your
not. No,
ability.
we're not. We're talking about your buddy's credibility, and you tried to
hang on.
shift the
He's
topic
not, first of
into
all,
my
he's not my buddy.
credibility.
Get with the times. He's not my buddy. We actually hate each other. Once again, in order to properly evaluate something, you need a baseline of experience. So, for example, if I have
No, that's not correct. That's not correct. Excuse me. We have about 20 people in the chat room. None of them are experts. None of them are dating coaches, and they will assess dating coaches.
There's one dating coach in here.
Okay.
Elevation, you're not making a good argument at all.
Knight and the Bishop is a dating coach. Apparently.
If I have, okay, let me give you an analogy. If I have zero marketing, I have never studied marketing, I have never done internet marketing, and I say, oh, this guy's marketing strategy sucks. Well, if I know nothing about marketing, then how can I properly evaluate their strategy? Right? So you need to have a baseline of experience to be able to properly evaluate this. When I was a fucking virgin, when I was like 15 years old, I could not, well, hang on, I'm still talking. I could not properly evaluate someone's infield, right? Because you need some baseline of experience so you know what to look for, what not to look for. So I want to figure out what your level of experience is.
Okay, let me respond. So here's the problem with that. The problem with that is that it's a false analogy, because not everyone is raised and born and conditioned into marketing or understanding marketing, but everyone has a base level of social skills and a collective set of social experiences. Everyone does. Especially if you're
I gotta disagree with you.
I agree with Alex on this one.
It's
I agree
not
with
true.
Alex on this one.
When I was 18, my social skills were very, very poor.
You keep interrupting me every time and not letting me finish. Is that how it's going to go down?
Well, yeah. Well, you keep saying dumb shit. And
so you invite me on the show to interrupt me every time because you don't want me to interrupt you, but you keep.
Well, I
interrupting me.
want to get an answer to my question. What is your lay count? You seem to dodge it.
It's irrelevant to the actual field itself. It's irrelevant to me.
Not irrelevant.
No, listen. Do you listen before a customer buys a product or service? Do you ask them their lay count, or do they themselves have to look at what you're presenting and determine a judgment for themselves? They don't have to have a high lay count, a low lay count. It's based on your credibility. It's not based on the credibility of the consumer or the customer. You are completely trying to reverse the burden of proof when your friend has the burden of proof.
If someone criticizes my work, I want to figure out if they're in a position to properly evaluate or they're talking out of their ass. Because, I mean, the fact that you're dodging this question implies that your lay count is either 0 or 1 or 2.
Excuse me, I wasn't criticizing your work in this instance. What I was doing as I was going by the evidence submitted by your friend John, and I was saying if I had to make a determination based on this evidence, would it be sufficient evidence to indicate that he has a high level of social skills or a high level of game? And
but how can you evaluate something that you know nothing about, since clearly you're inexperienced with women?
Okay, you can make that claim, but
how does lay count translate to inexperience with women?
It's one metric. There's other questions I was going to ask him, but yeah, it's one metric. If he's a virgin,
it's not a relevant metric to the evidence provided.
Dude.
The evidence provided is day game. The social.
But that is your opinion. Elevation. Your opinion.
It's not an opinion. He is a dating coach selling a product in the context of the daytime.
Your opinion. Hang on. Your opinion is that his infield sucks, right? That's not an objective fact. That is your opinion, right? So we need to figure out whether your opinion is accurate. And the only way we're going to do that is to see whether you have any credibility in the topic that you're talking about.
Okay. If we want to do that, here I challenge you. Put one of his infields right now on this video screen. You go over it with me. I'll go over it with you. We'll see who has the right opinion.
Well, at first I need to figure out if you even know what you're talking about. If you're some virgin incel, then why would your opinion matter?
Okay, okay. I'm a virgin incel. There we go. I'm a virgin incel. So you show me how I'm wrong. Go ahead.
But if you're a virgin incel, you probably can't even pick up on the basic social shit.
Well, that's what some people might say about all incels, but obviously there's different causes.
Can you tell me why you're dodging this question? What's the big deal of answering? We could have moved on half an hour ago, but you keep dodging this question.
there's no point answering a question that is irrelevant.
Oh yeah, I think the reality is the answer is very embarrassing. You just don't want to embarrass yourself.
Okay, no, you can think that. It doesn't
that's-
change
that's
the fact
what-
that
that's what everyone
anyone
is
right
thinking.
now who is not an expert can review his videos and they can make a determination whether they're an expert or not. It's a fact. It's just what
Okay.
happens. It's
Do you
how
think?
people
Okay.
assess
Do you
whether
think
they're
if, for
going to buy a
example,
product.
do you think if I've
So
never
do
done,
you believe that only people who are qualified and experts are allowed to determine whether
I
something
disagree.
is viable? In
I
terms of
will
buying
say
his
that like
With
Alex
masters,
is
but
actually
Hold up.
Alex does
Let
know
him
what
let
he's
him let him
talking
get his point
about.
across.
I
His
think
advice is
credibility
pretty based.
important. I think you need to have some level of competence and credibility in order to properly evaluate something. So again,
Okay, so if I don't have a level of competence and credibility, how am I going to determine that the evidence that has been submitted is true or false, just based on someone else's opinion, if it doesn't accord with my own conscience, my own reason, my own experience, and my own social skills?
No,
Obviously,
because
I don't think Alex is saying you're wrong for forming your own opinion about how you perceive Giles' like expertise in the field. I think Alex is trying to say like what your opinion is might not be completely 100% accurate representative of his true
and he can
ability to
demonstrate that
do
right
what
now.
he's
He
doing.
can go over the
well, no,
infield
because
footage
it's
and
going to
point
be
out where I'm wrong in my
doing
assessment.
that, but it's going to be my opinion versus your opinion, right? So,
But the thing
our-
is,
You're not you're not wrong for having an opinion. It's just
You're an
not rated the
expert.
same.
You are allegedly an expert, so you're going to
But here's
supposedly
elevation,
tell me where I'm wrong.
elevation. What you missing is he's basically saying that the reason why he's trying to get at your leg count is to see if you have. Listen, everyone has an opinion. They're like assholes, right? Everyone has one. But who are people going to lean more weight to and more credibility to? Someone with
sure.
a
If
higher
you
leg
show me a
count or
claim that
someone
I've
with a
made
lower
about
leg count?
of Alex or John where leg count is relevant, I'll happily answer the question. But right now, the only thing I'm challenging or questioning is based on the evidence submitted by John himself or his potential customer base for his
All right, guys.
Hold on, let me
wait.
read a question. Yo, Elevation, do you think a person who has 100 leg count with reasonably attractive women, do you think their judgment of someone's game would be more accurate than a person who has never been laid before? Do you think their difference in opinions has any significance?
That's actually two incredibly different scenarios on both ends of the spectrum, and that's not a fair question, to be quite honest.
Elevation.
Hold up, Ashley. Now
No,
you got to
really.
explain why.
How's that not a fair question? That's exactly what Alex is getting at.
No. Well, okay.
Because the guy with 0 leg count can have an opinion, but it doesn't mean it's like more accurate than the guy with 100.
Yeah, that's not what I was saying. So actually, Elevation never said he had a 0 leg count. So you guys are literally taking somebody with Alex's like what 100.
But we're not saying he has a 0 leg count. We're trying to see what.
No.
But it's probably
Cool.
really
Never mind.
low because he's embarrassed about answering the question.
Yep.
Most people who have experience with girls, they'll just answer the question. But because he's dodging the question so much, it implies that, well, he's embarrassed about the answer. Right? Like, okay, Ashley, you're asking guys, what's your penis size, right? And most guys are just like, whatever answer.
No, I was trying to answer a question.
You can make that claim, but what I said is I will answer the question when it becomes relevant.
Probably means
when
that
it's relevant. You have not made a relevant connection between the evidence submitted by John in terms of his day game social skills and how that is relevant to my leg count.
Wait, can Elevation answer my question though that I said a second ago? Like, do you think a person that has had sex with like 100 different women would have a better accurate judgment on someone's ability to game than someone that's never had sex before?
Literally,
answer that question. Answer that question.
It might be a potential. It might be a factor. It might not be a factor. It depends. For example,
it might or it might not, depending on what.
Yeah, exactly. So you could have a natural, for example, a natural who has 100 leg count, whatever. But a natural might tell you something stupid, right? A natural might just say like, Just act like a black guy, bro. Just act like a gangster, bro. I've heard naturals say stupid.
No, guys,
What?
elevation. Hold on,
What?
Elevation's making a good point
Why
because
do you gotta
that's
be
not a
black?
hold on. Listen. That's not a hypothetical. That's not a hypothetical. There was a natural guy. I know exactly who he's talking about. There was a natural guy who literally fucks hot women all the time.
Brad,
Like he's been getting late. Hold on.
Yeah, his name is Chad.
Rule. But Brad, you would have to agree that a guy who has 100 lay count versus a guy who has 0 lay
No,
count.
I agree.
On average,
I
would be
disagree.
more qualified.
I disagree 100%.
Dude, yes, of course.
Would
I
be
agree
more
with that.
You
qualified to answer
would
that
have to
question.
demonstrate the claim.
I know,
on
that's
average.
why-
Where are you getting that
that's
from?
why you have to- hold on.
How do we know on average that is the case?
Do you doubt that? Do you think it's like? Do you think there's no
Yes,
correlation?
exactly.
Yes,
That's
I
what
doubt
How
it.
do we know that?
Ashley, I'm not asking you. Do you think it's more likely? So you think it's like the same likelihood, 50-50, that a guy with 100 lay count is going to be able to give as accurate of advice as someone who's 0 lay count?
I don't know the likelihood. That's what I'm saying. How do we
Oh,
know?
I'm
one way or
asking for your
another?
opinion. What do you think?
You were saying, you said, you made the point, I think it was either you or someone else, someone said that they would know better on average, so they'd be able to give better advice on average. I just want to know, how do we know that's true?
I mean, he answered that question. He thinks it's 50-50. He doesn't think it's directly correlated.
like
No, I
fucking
didn't answer it. I did not say that. I said I don't know when he raised
Elevation just like refuses to answer any question. Okay, let me pose it like this. Do you think when it comes to fitness, right? Like, do you think someone who has never been to the gym, right, has the same capability to evaluate someone's form or technique or workout plan as someone who works out all the time?
No, I wouldn't. I would agree with your point here, but then I would say, it's a false analogy because everyone has some minimal set level of social skills and experience. Period.
Everyone has some basic level of fitness, bro. 8th grade gym class.
I agree.
Okay, so everyone has some level of fitness. Everyone has some level of social skills. So what's the difference between those two?
I would say in terms of social skills, social experiences, that I would say everyone in this sense is at least in part a natural, whereas not everyone in terms of fitness is a natural. That basically they're doing the.
You think everyone in this community is a natural?
No. I think everyone has a bare minimal social set of experiences, a collective social experiences. That's what I said. I didn't say everyone is a natural. But
here's the thing, Elevation. Just because everyone has a basic level of like just social skills doesn't mean that they're weighed the same though, right?
Okay, so let me ask you guys a question, because you keep going at this point, and I want to know if I'm an incel or I'm a black pillar or whatever, right? Then how am I going to make a determination about whether I should buy John's product if I can't make an assessment because I'm not an expert or my lay count isn't high enough? How do I know whether I should buy his product other than appealing to authority?
A combination of critical thinking and risk taking. That's it.
Yeah, you have to think.
Can you be specific? Because that's very general. Can you be specific?
Based on his results, if there's infield footage of him pulling hot women consistently, that's his results.
There you go.
To Elevation's point, like,
but there isn't. That's the whole point. That's my whole point.
I honestly like
but there is.
commiserate with Eurodite right now.
Someone who's more advanced is in a much better position to evaluate a product than someone who has no experience. So someone like you or whatever, someone similar, would have to take a much bigger leap of faith than someone like me in that situation, because you're not as equipped to properly evaluate, the information. So yes, to your point, like,
okay, can you empirically demonstrate? Can you empirically demonstrate that? Can you open up a video of John's, the ones that I'm questioning or doubting, and can you show me where is my social analysis incorrect?
We can absolutely do that, but that's not empirical. Empirical is something that's like very like this is something that's like just like a fact. Right. This is just going to come down to my opinion.
That's not empirical. That's not how we use the term empirical in philosophy. In philosophy, when we say empirical, we mean subjectively empirical. You're using it in a scientific
elevation. Do you think
when we're talking about a social context, we're talking about subjectively, as you said, your opinion versus my opinion. So no, it's not.
Listen, this is fucking stupid, guys. This is fucking stupid. Okay. No, listen. There is no correlation between lay count and fucking
Actually,
whether or
yes,
not
there is.
no,
Yes, there
it's
is.
true.
There
Listen,
isn't.
I have been trying to say this for the last goddamn hour, and
Go
every
ahead, say
time I
it.
try to speak, you tell me to shut up. But
Well, 'cause
one of
I'm
you
trying to debate
morons
on
opens
you.
your fucking mouth and you repeat the same goddamn thing, and everybody stops and, oh, listen, shut the fuck up. Listen, you guys think that lay count correlates with whether or not you have good game, and that's simply not true. If
Yes,
I
it is.
were to, if
Hold on,
I
hold on,
were
hold on,
to
hold on. Yeah,
listen
let
to
her finish.
somebody, if I were to listen to somebody and they had 2 girlfriends in the last year that were long-term relationships, or if I were to listen to somebody that fucked 40 chicks in the last year, I would listen to the guy that had 2 girlfriends, okay? So it just depends on what the
But
fuck you
Ashley,
wanna
how
hear
would you
and
Alright,
know?
what you
Ashley,
want to
I'm
listen
more,
Agreed.
to, dude.
I'm more,
I
I'm
have
more,
been
I got a
My
follow-up
phone's
quiet
better,
question for
this
dude.
you.
whole
What happened, man?
goddamn fucking time. I have not said a word. Literally.
oh, he
We
fucking
literally
left.
just listened to you for like
Jesus
30
Christ.
seconds, make a point.
Wait, did he leave?
Hold
I
on,
don't
hold on. I
care,
got a
Duke.
follow-up
Fuck
question for you.
off,
How would
Duke.
you know
Every
between
time I look
someone
at your
who's
fucking
40?
logo, I see My Little Ponies. Like, I swear to fucking God.
Yeah,
What?
How do you
Ashley,
get My
come on.
Little
Like, I
Ponies
do
from
gotta
my
say, like,
logo?
not cool.
It
Like,
is
Make it make sense.
bullshit, though. Like,
No,
I've
like
tried
going
to
on?
say
you are
something
I'm
for the
trying
last
to
fucking
debate.
45
Actually, you
minutes.
over here getting mad, but like the last couple of points that you made, they were fucking redundant. Just like you trying to make this conversation out to
Redundant
be.
like
Yeah,
everything you
yeah. And
goddamn say,
I'm
Duke.
asking you a
Everything
follow-up
you
question.
say
How
is
would
Oh
you,
red
my
okay,
god,
pill
here
how
we
would
go
you be
again.
able to
regurgitation.
tell?
I
How would
literally
you
hear
Okay.
Inde vomiting out of your ass every
They're
time you
not
talk
the
to me.
same at
how?
all.
Can you explain that?
Are you kidding?
How do
You
you
are
hear
the
Allende?
epitome of him.
Wait, where the
Every
fuck is
time you have
that?
interacted
First
with
we
me,
had
Because I'm questioning
QB
are you
versus Duke.
fucking kidding
Now we
me?
got Ashley
I'm the
versus Duke.
or is it just because it's another black guy talking to you? Which one is it, Ashley?
Who brought
True.
race into this?
I'm
Why
no,
do you
you
have to
brought
bring
up
race
Allende.
into
You're
this?
saying
Are
I'm
you
Guys,
epitome
kidding
of
me
oh my
right
Allende.
God.
You
now?
can't explain that.
Wait,
So
Greg,
I
can you
explain
can't.
how
I
am I
just
the
said
epitome
red
of
pill
Allende?
regurgitation and spurging out. Those
Who's
are
spurging?
2
How
things
am I
that have
spurging?
nothing
Greg,
to do
can
with
you,
Ashley,
can
so
you
race.
mute,
asking
You
you a
fucking
follow-up
asshole.
question is spurging
Really?
out?
You're gonna make me look like a goddamn racist because I compared you
Asking
to
you a
another red
follow-up.
pill
Hey, no one else
regurgitator.
brought up Allende but you.
You
All
are
right, and
such
last
a
I
fucking
checked,
Greg,
dick.
can you drop the
you're the
link
one.
again
Wait,
for
time out,
elevation?
Yeah.
time out. Hold on. How
Hold
is
up.
it? How is
Wait,
asking
we
you a
have to do
follow-up
I can
question
drop
No,
the
the
link.
minute
spurging
you
out?
Yeah.
bring race
Because
into
it
this
seems
and
like
try
Fuck,
the
to
can
only
you
make me
guys
look
person
like
like some
spurging
not?
out over
fucking
you is
racist
you for not
cracker,
getting your
I'm
way.
done
So
with you,
how is
bro.
it?
Wait,
Fuck off,
No,
can,
no,
man. That
don't
was
wait,
a
do the
low
whole
No.
shit
How, no,
on
blow.
because it
cracker.
sounds like
yo,
you're
Low
guys,
spurging out right
blow.
now.
can we do one debate
What, are
at
you
a time?
comparing me
Like,
to
we
the only
cannot
other
do
black
Yeah,
guy you know on
please.
two
stream? Is that
debates
what it
go on the
is?
same
Before my
time.
phone dies, I'll let
One
Alex
Okay,
take
Listen,
I'm gonna
over.
tell
Duke
you
and I
right
have
now.
had some
Yeah,
Hey,
drop the
sexual
link.
like
Who's
Give,
coming
tension
in
give
going
me
on
Ashley,
for my
15
I'm
between
gonna
you
minutes.
tell you
guys.
right
Yo,
now. I'm a
Ashley, come on.
different
Like,
breed, honey. Don't play.
you're kind of like
Don't
rooting
play.
that debate. Like, give me 15 minutes to like debate him, and then you can like fucking.
Yeah, I want
Yeah,
Alex to
I hear
debate
you,
him.
Alex. I hear you.
But like,
But
this
the
is why
fact
we
is,
can't
though, is
do
that
two
you
debates.
snapped at me, and then when these other guys interrupt and say stuff, you don't do it to them, and it is a little sexist, honestly.
What?
Okay, you disagree with my statement, and you and I
But
can get
I've
into it right
agreed
after
with
debating
several
him.
too,
Like,
Alex.
I cannot debate two people at the same time.
Fair enough. I understand. You're right. You're right about that.
Yeah, Alex, can I
I agree with
clarify one
them.
of my points real quick?
Sure.
Elevation's coming back on.
So, okay, hold
There
on,
you go.
elevation. Hold on, elevation. I want to clarify this real quick. So, obviously, I agree. A guy who's at 100 late count knows a shitload more than a virgin. Obviously, that's common sense. But what I was saying is, I do kind of see elevation's point because there are some naturals that are 100 plus late count, and the best advice they can give you is, oh, just be cool. So like
Yes.
they don't really understand it
There's
that well.
exceptions for every single rule. Okay, elevation.
But it's
So
not a rule. You have to establish it's a rule before.
okay,
just claiming it's
elevation.
a rule.
You and I both watched the same movie. I think the movie is great. You think the movie sucks. Can I empirically prove to you that the movie was good?
I mean, do you think like there is some measure of of objectivity to social
Yeah,
dynamics?
I think there are some. The biggest one is success. Whether you got the girl's phone number, whether you get her on a date, whether you hook up with her. I think that is by far the most important empirical measure.
Okay, so it sounds like you rank social skills lower than actual results. Is that correct?
I think results are the most important thing because the goal isn't to look good for other guys on the internet, it's to actually get the girl. So if you got the girl, chances are your social skills were pretty decent.
Okay, but if you don't look good for other guys on the internet, if you don't demonstrate you have actual game per se, then how can we trust that your results are what you claim they are? Firstly, I could also add a second point, and that is, isn't sort of your entire channel, your forum, like the process of speed dating, isn't this to assess and help evaluate and improve on game itself? So of course it matters because it seems to be one of your own metrics.
Well, the biggest thing, what do I do at the end of every speed date? I ask the girl if she would go on a date with a guy. So that's like kind of, we can't like have the guy fuck the girl because it's like a virtual thing, but that's the closest thing you can do to objective results. So I am always looking for objective results. That is much more important than, what I think or what anyone else thinks. Now, there are some other things you can look for, but generally speaking, if you hook up with a girl, chances are your game was at least pretty decent, right? So yeah, I think like objective results are more important than like what some like fucking keyboard jockeys on the internet thing for sure.
Okay. Well, here's what I think in this case. You can tell me if I'm wrong, and because you're a professional, you're an expert, you can tell me how I'm wrong, right? So when I look at the evidence submitted by John Anthony Lifestyle, when I look at that evidence, there's no evidence that any particular interaction that he did in the daytime, which is potentially what I'm most interested in, right? Has led to any sort of boom boom, if we want to refer to it as that, right? There's no evidence, and there is also additional evidence. If I was to compare, for example, the list on your top five, so let's say I think who's on your top five, like Marcus Wolf is on your top five, maybe Julian Blanc is on your top five, Austin Summers is there somewhere. So if
Yeah.
I compare these guys who are the best to another person who you describe as the best, which is one of the best, which is John Anthony Lifestyle, I see a disparity when it comes to John versus those others. Do you think that matters, or do you think it doesn't matter?
Well, I think your opinion only matters if you have like a baseline credibility to properly evaluate this. So I think that
But
again,
you're actually sort of by extension giving me at least some credibility because you're giving me a list of people that you have pre-approved and you've said these are the best guys or these are
just
some of the
just
top
just
five.
because I tell you who the top five guys are doesn't mean that you know what to
But
look
that means
for.
that I'm going to use those examples as metrics to evaluate one another and of course John. Is that plausible or not?
Well, the thing is that if you're unqualified to talk about this topic, then you don't really know what to look for. Again, if you're a guy who has never
But do
been
you
to the
not
gym,
go over that? I mean, isn't that the whole point in your videos?
if
You
you're a
go
guy who's
over the
never been
metrics.
to the gym and I give you the list of the 5 top bodybuilders and you say, well, these 4 bodybuilders are good, but this bodybuilder sucks. His form is way off. And I'm like, okay, well, what's your training? You're like, I have no training. Then you're not really credible to evaluate whether that guy has good or not. So
Do
when
you
I
think
gave you
that the
when
dating
I gave
advice
you
that
when I,
you give out every
when,
day is legitimate and that I can use
when
them?
I gave you my analogy about the guy who works out, I asked you, you're like, okay, well, I understand in that case, but it's different. But you couldn't really name me one thing that makes it different. So again, if you think that in the gym analogy, the guy who has never worked out is not really a reliable person to evaluate solid bodybuilder, then how is this different?
I'm not sure I understood that last question,
Okay,
but
you
you
agreed.
can paraphrase it if you want.
You agreed that if you have a guy who has never been to the gym, that he's not really a credible source to evaluate a professional bodybuilder, right? You agreed with that earlier. But then when I asked you,
I
well,
mean,
what's the
it
difference?
depends. It depends on does it like for example, if he really is if he is someone who actually studies the subject without going to a gym, he's going to have more knowledge than a person who doesn't study the subject. So other factors matter as well. But yeah, I would agree. This is one factor that matters. Sure.
Okay, so how is this stuff any different?
Well, I think I've already gone over that. That's why I think it's
No,
worth
you
it
said
to
you said everyone has a baseline of social skills, and I said everyone
yeah.
has a baseline of fitness skills, and you're like, okay, that's true. So you kind of refuted your own point. So I want to see if you have any other points.
Well, I addressed that follow up as well. But yeah, I do have another point, and this is the one I'm trying to ask you.
Well,
Is
I'd like to get an answer to my
because
question real
you're
quick
basically
before we move on.
you're saying because I'm not an expert that I can't look at the people that you have chosen on your top 5 list. I can't look at the advice you've given in speed date and I can't use that as a metric, then why are you actually telling people and assuming that they are taking on board your advice legitimately and that they understand your advice and that they are using your advice? So I could claim that I'm doing exactly the same as they're doing. So by using the people that you've chosen, by highlighting and emphasizing why the best are the best, and then comparing them among each other, comparing people on speed dates among each other, comparing John Anthony, obviously I'm going to come to my own conclusion and own opinion, just like every other ordinary person. How's
Right, but
that
I
not
can't,
reasonable?
you're
Hold
allowed
up.
to.
At the
You're allowed
risk
to
of
come-
us not making this like a circular argument again, because this is where it's about to go to. The end point is that you have your opinion, dog, but at the end of the day, one carries more weight than the other in the grand scheme of things compared to other people. Meaning you are allowed to judge someone's speed date or someone's pickup game or whatever it is, how you see fit through your lens and your experience level. However, compared to someone else outside of your thought bubble, outside of your world, in the real world that has way more experience than that, it does not hold as much weight to other people. So, for instance, if you started the channel Elevation talking about pickup or rating pickup versus Alex doing a channel rating pickup, right? His is going to carry more weight with independent parties versus your word. That's the end all be all. It doesn't. It don't. It don't. It don't. It don't.
Because I
let's say
know
that
what
you're
I'm looking
100%
for, and
correct.
you don't.
Let's say you're correct, Duke. Then what I'm doing now is fair, because then I'm saying I have to share a common ground and a common metric between Alex and I. So I have
No
to
one
go
said
to
you
his
have to
own
share. You
resources.
just have to acknowledge what
Yes,
what
I
the
do, because
fact
if
is.
if I have to evaluate someone using the top guys' assessments of different people, then that's going to be better than not doing that. So I'm going to use his resources, his concepts, his materials, his metrics, and I'm going to appeal to the commonality on that basis, and then I'm going to evaluate other.
But just doing that, you
Josh
only
Fox
shoot
is saying.
yourself in the
If you're
foot.
not
You know
a
that, right?
credible source, you don't know what you're looking for, then you're not going to be able to do that accurately. You might look for dumb
You wouldn't
things
even be
like-
able to accurately tell
So
who the top
when
guy
you
is without
teach
the
these guys
experience.
on speed dates, can they accurately assess what you've said to them, what you've told them? Can they actually learn game, or can they not learn game?
Everyone can improve, but those guys on speed dates. Well, first of all, there's a difference because they're not like trying to figure it out on their own. They're going off directly things I say. So there's a big difference between following instructions and figuring it out yourself, right? So they're following instructions. You're not. I haven't given you any instructions. You're just trying to figure it out on yourself. But yes, those guys are less able to evaluate whether other people's performances were good or not because they don't really have the experience.
Okay, so when you give them the advice, when you give them the information, do they now have a reference point in which they can say, oh yeah, this is what Alex meant, this is what Alex intended, now I can improve. So basically what you're telling them is something legitimate, and then if you tell them something legitimate, then obviously they're going to use that naturally, even without me mentioning this, they're going to naturally use that to assess themselves and assess one another. And I'm not saying that every opinion is equal, but they have to use your criterion, because you're the one giving them the information. You're the one giving them their legitimate advice. So that's all I can do as someone who is not an expert, as someone who's not a professional, right? I can watch your videos, I can watch and get a well-rounded, well-adjusted opinion of what you've said in general, and I can clearly see John Anthony lifestyle is not a parallel of your top 5 or anyone else that I've
But
seen.
here's the thing: you're not actually listening to my opinion. Like, you would be the equivalent of the guy on the speed date where I'm like, hey man, you were like way too platonic. He's like, well, I disagree. I was very sexual. Because in that video, I explained why I think John Anthony is the top 5. So you're disagreeing with my opinion. You're not listening to what I'm saying. You're actually doing the opposite.
I have watched your opinion, your video. I have listened to your opinion, but based on my opinion, based on everything you've said collectively, I don't see how he is parallel to Marcus Wolf. I don't see how
Right.
he is
You're
parallel in
saying,
terms of the
you're
top
saying
5
that
all the
my
way to
opinion is
Austin
incorrect.
Summers.
You're saying that my opinion is incorrect and that your opinion, is basically the true one, right? But our opinions are not equal. If, assuming you're a virgin incel and I have a lot of success with women, my opinion carries a lot more weight because it's actually based on experience, right? It's based on real life experience. I know what I'm looking for. I know what I'm not looking for. And if you don't have any experience, then you don't know what you're looking for. And you don't know what you're not looking for. So you're entitled to have your opinion, but our opinions are not weighted equally.
You can claim that, but there is nothing that you have demonstrated in your video footage of each of these persons where John Anthony lifestyle is equivalent to the others in the metrics that you yourself have emphasized and highlighted on each of the best 5 and other examples as well.
By what specific metric is John not in the top 5? Just like tell me what the specific metric that I specified that makes him not in the top 5.
Sure. Example would be Austin Summers, humor, lightness, goofiness, carefreeness. In fact, you yourself. I remember I had a back and forth with you in the text one time. You yourself gave a metric. You said that the top guys are not reactive. I commented in the text and I said, actually, John is reactive. That contradicts your point. He's very dramatic. He's very affected. He's very emotionally influenced. Then you came back and you said, oh, John is an exception to the rule. He's the only exception to the rule that I'm aware of. So it is from your own metric that I'm determining that. Now you can say I'm wrong, but that's a metric. It's a valid metric that you put out there.
So I mean,
hold on. Let me say real quick.
Wait, guys.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I think you kind of exposed your lack of experience because you said goofiness is a metric. I've never said goofiness. Goofiness is not a good thing. It's generally a negative thing. So yeah, like you just showed that you don't really know what you're looking for. And you named what? Humor. I forget what the other things you named, but you missed a lot of the really big ones, right? So this does show me that you don't really know what you're looking for when you're evaluating these guys. Now, in terms of John, he's a very interesting paradox because he is very reactive with other people on the internet, but he's not reactive with women. It's a really weird because people are typically like either reactive or not reactive, but he's not reactive with girls. I have never seen him get reactive with girls. I've never seen any of that. But he is reactive with other guys, which is very fascinating that he's like that. But yeah, so he's trying to pick up girls. He's not trying to pick up guys. So by my own metric of him not being, not being reactive, he would actually qualify for that when it comes to talking to girls, which is what he's into.
I think first of all, you're right. Okay, you didn't use the exact term goofy, but I did use other synonyms to describe the same phenomenon, right? So I said, for example, carefree, humorous, funny, etc. So I was using that as one of the metrics because obviously he's flirtation. I'm talking about, for example, comparing Austin and John, right? So that's what I meant when I compared the two. I've never seen that when it comes to John. But then if we go by the another person who you have had on your channel and who you seem to, you can tell me if I'm wrong, but you seem to have approved of him as at least as a dating coach. What's his name? Denton. Denton also made a similar argument to what I made. He based on his observations of John's infield. He ranked John's game as intermediate. That was his ranking of John's game. And one of the criticisms that he had of John is that John has a sort of nervous tension, a sort of nervous laughter, where he's constantly like he constantly laughs like that. So he actually is reactive to girl. He's nervous. He experiences social anxiety. In fact, he used to comment on that on his own channel where he used to say that he used to have a couple of drinks in the daytime or get full on drunk in the daytime in order to lower his social anxiety. So the fact that you're claiming that he's not reactive to women, I think is false based on not only the infield we've seen on John's channel, the testimony of John himself, Denton's assessment analysis of his game as intermediate, and his criticism of him as reactive in the sense of being nervous, of having tension, of laughing involuntarily. Obviously, John is reactive on some extent, especially in cold approach during the day to women. So I don't agree with that. I don't agree with your overall assessment on this case. So let me ask you a question. You're an expert. You're a professional.
Wait. Can I address what you said before you ask me? Wait. Elevation.
One example or not?
Let me address all the stuff that you said, and then you can ask me the question because I'm going to forget what you said. Okay, so Denton's opinion is 100% irrelevant to me. I don't see how his opinion actually is like objective fact in any way. Now, I do, going to your other point, I think there's a big difference between having general anxiety, which I have myself. I have general anxiety, right? Versus being reactive with girls. I don't think anyone could make the claim, even my biggest haters, that I'm reactive. But I have general anxiety. They're not the same thing. So yeah, John has general anxiety, but he's not reactive with girls. They're not contradictory statements.
I mean that is contradictory by definition. If you have anxiety, when you the anxiety is induced because of the social situation,
Okay.
because of the social situation
Do
of
you,
cold
do you
approach
think do you think
inducing
I'm,
the anxiety.
do you think I'm reactive?
No, not compared to John. No.
Just in general, do you think I'm reactive when I do speed dates in my infield in general?
No, I answered that. I don't think you're reactive in the sense that John is reactive. No.
Okay, but I have general anxiety.
Okay, you could claim that, but that isn't evidence. You can say, but in the case
No,
of John,
I
there is
can show you.
anxiety,
Dude,
and
I can show you like my prescription for Klonopin. Yeah, I have general anxiety. I've had it for years.
yeah, I don't have a problem if you claim that you have general anxiety, but that doesn't mean that you're reactive.
No, I know I'm not reactive. You can have anxiety and not be reactive. Again, I have anxiety, but I'm not reactive.
Yeah, and John is not one of those cases. He's a person who has anxiety and has reactions because of that anxiety.
Okay. So, do you acknowledge that you can have anxiety and not be reactive?
Sure.
Okay. So then how do you know that John is not one of those people who has anxiety but is not reactive? He has never admitted to being reactive. He has admitted to having anxiety, like me and like millions of people across the world. He has never admitted
Because I go
to
by
being
the
reactive.
evidence of his own infield.
So the evidence is your opinion. You personally think that he's reactive with girls. That's just
That's
purely
not
your
my
opinion.
opinion. That was Denton's opinion.
But how is Denton's opinion important in any way?
Because Denton is an expert in cold approach.
Okay. Like, why do you say that? He's not in like my top 5 videos.
Because I can only go by self-proclaimed dating coaches as someone who.
Well, self-proclaimed makes nothing. I could self-proclaim myself to be a billionaire. I could
Sure, and I've
self-proclaim.
seen your infield, and I've seen Denton infield, and I can say based on your infield and his infield, I think that you probably have intermediate skill set or above, and I think the same for Denton. So that's all I can do, right? That's all I can do. I can
but
say these
again,
things,
well, if you're not credible in terms of interpreting people's game and skills, then why would your opinion on Denton's infield matter?
Because
like, it's a circular argument.
Listen, man, there has to be. I know you don't like this, but it is just it's a matter of state, right? There has to be a baseline for me to be able to think in some way, oh, that dating coach is plausible and that one is not plausible, or that one I can agree with and that one I don't agree with. If I can't do that, then who can do that? I mean, in fact, just because Denton's not in your top 5, I don't think you would yourself say, according to your own opinion or testimony, that Denton is bad at cold approach game or something like that. I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong.
I would never say that he's advanced. I would not put him in the advanced category.
Okay.
Can I say something real quick?
But again, going back to what we were talking about, like your argument for why John has he's reactive is because Denton said so. But like,
absolutely. I mean, I have to look at your words and I have to look at the evidences you provide to say that Austin is good and Marcus Wolf is good, and I have to do the same with Denton, right? I mean, what other option is there?
You don't have the level of experience to properly interpret whether someone is good or not. Just looking at.
So are you saying that I should remain in the state of permanent agnosticism as opposed to some sort of epistemic certainty with regards to all dating?
No, I think you should improve your skills with girls to a point where you are a credible person.
Okay.
I think you can
Okay.
keep improving.
So where in my assessment of yourself
you are
or
improving,
Denton,
I think you should.
Where in my opinion of you or Denton have I gone wrong? Can you point to me where it was wrong?
With Denton, I don't think you have gone wrong with Denton. The only thing that you said that was incorrect when it comes to Denton is when you said, "Oh, Denton thinks he's intermediate," as if that's in any way relevant to this discussion. Like, who
It
gives a
isn't
shit?
relevant because
Okay,
you're both claiming to
elevation.
be dating
What if I
coaches.
said?
Of course,
What
it's
if I
relevant.
said, "Well, elevation, Duke thinks that John Anthony is in advance"? Would that like make any kind of a difference?
No, because Duke doesn't claim to be a dating coach, and he's not one that's pre-approved and supported by you, and has been on your channel multiple times. So of
Okay,
course,
I've
Denton is
never,
a legitimate witness.
I've never vouched for Denton. I like having discussions with him, but I've never vouched for his skills or anything
Okay, so
like
are
that.
you saying based on the infield that you have observed from Denton, from what I heard before, you're saying you didn't vouch. So you're saying you didn't vouch for him, but just 5 minutes ago, 2 minutes ago, you said he was at least intermediate. So which one is it?
Yeah. Well, he's intermediate. I don't vouch for intermediates. I vouch for advanced guys.
Okay, I've never heard you say that to Denton's face.
Well, no, I'm not going to be a dick, but if he asked me, yeah, I would tell him the truth. I didn't put in my top 5 video. I've never claimed that he's good. I don't do any kind of cross promotion with him. Again, really nice guy. I like him, but I don't think he has advanced game. I'm just being brutally honest.
I'm obviously, as you pointed out, I'm not a dating coach, right? So I'm technically outside, right? So that would mean that I have only the claims of you guys and the support that you've given for your claims to go by. Is there anything else in terms of you and Denton that I can go by other than you're both claiming to be dating coaches, you're both giving certain receipts or infield or evidences for your claims? What else can I go by other than that?
Well, I think that you're now in a position where you can make definitive statements. I think that if I was in your shoes, I would be much more agnostic. I would take the position like, hey, listen, he didn't look good to me, but I don't really have that much experience, so I don't know. This is how I am.
Should I be permanently
hang on.
epistemic uncertainty? You said I shouldn't be.
Wait, hang on. This is how I am when it comes to marketing, right? So I have a marketing expert on my team. Sometimes he pitches idea, and I'm like, this doesn't sound good, but I don't really have that much marketing experience. So let's try it, but it doesn't seem good to me, but let's try it, right? So I'm much more agnostic. So when it comes to an area that you know very little about, I do think it makes much more sense to take an agnostic position instead of making definitive statements like John has bad cold approach skills. I would be more agnostic. Hey, he didn't look good to me, but I'm not really experienced when it comes to this, so I don't know.
Okay, I kind of agree with that. I can say, yeah, according to my level of experience, John's exhibition of his game in terms of his receipts, in terms of his infield and evidence, it does not match what I have seen from you, from Denton. And even if you don't want to consider yourself, or at least in the case of Denton, if you don't want to consider him as high game, but then you have others that you have, like Marcus Wolf and Austin Summers and all those, right? So based on, if I do my own personal, if I look at every single example of infield, the ones that are at least available online and on the internet, right? John is not parallel to those others. He doesn't equivalently have the same social skill set. Now you can say, oh yeah, okay, that's not an expert opinion though, and I can agree with that. That's not an expert opinion. That's just what I've witnessed.
Okay, so
let's break down one of John's.
Would you acknowledge that you could be wrong because you don't really know what you're looking for, and that your opinion?
If I'm wrong, please show me on the video. Please show me where I'm wrong. Okay. Absolutely.
Once again, this is like us watching a movie together. You think it's good, I think it's bad, and then like I'm trying to prove to you that the movie sucks. Like there's
Dude, how come when someone watches the Marcus Wolf movie or the Alexander Lindbergh movie or the Austin Summers movie, how can everyone's like, fuck yeah, like these guys are obviously legit, right? Like
no, there's a bunch of people who think Austin is not legit.
I still think
that Austin is not legit for the same reasons as John, because they would say that he's not legit for different reasons. But even if you get a black pillar, like Wheat Waffle said that Austin was legit, like which black pillar is vouching for?
Yeah, there's
John
people
Anthony
who
Lifestyle.
think
But I'm
there's
sorry to
people
interrupt you,
who
Brad. Go
think
ahead now.
there's people who think I'm a fraud. There's people who think John is a fraud. There's people who think Austin is a fraud. Now, to your point, John has a lot more haters, but that is because he's a very, very controversial figure and he picks fights with everyone, and his like general vibe and energy is like not attractive to the majority of people, right? But if he had the same like attitude as Austin, yeah, I mean, again, everyone has people who think
Yeah, but
they're
isn't what he said is, I'm not saying that he's sleeping with trannies. All I'm saying is I watched his day game infield receipts, and they don't appear to be as convincing and persuasive as the other people that you have gone over. That's all I've said.
Right. But once again, we've established that you don't really know what you're looking for because you have very little experience with women. So
But
therefore,
again, the only
it
way
is,
I could
it
possibly know
is,
what I'm looking for is if
it
you've
is.
given me the information through your own videos and through your own coaching on your own channel.
But
That's
but
the
you're not
only basis I have to go on.
elevation, but you're not listening to what I'm saying. You're not taking my word for it. You're actually disagreeing with my statement. So you're not one of
I
those
know,
people.
no, you're disagreeing with your statement because even you yourself said John is the exception to the rule when it comes to one of your own criterion. But we've already gone over this. I mean,
We
what else is
can
there to say?
We're
Go
we're
ahead.
talking about two different things. I was saying that when it comes to like getting triggered in general, that he has that, but he's totally different with girls than he is with like random people on the internet, which is fascinating. But yeah, like I've gone out with him countless times. I've never seen him get butthurt or triggered when it comes to talking to a girl, but he gets butthurt and triggered all the time in like other life situations, which is fascinating. But yeah, like so he's not necessarily an exception because he's not actually triggered or butthurt with girls.
Anyway,
So we can break
go ahead,
down
Brad.
one of John's day game infield, and Elevation can tell you what he thinks John's doing bad, and then you could tell him if it's actually bad or not in your opinion.
Yeah, we can do that. Sure, I don't mind.
And I want to say too, there's been different coaches that I know for a fact are like legitimate, but when they talk about each other, they get each other completely wrong sometimes. It's kind of fascinating to watch. Like there'll be two guys I know for a fact are legitimate, but then they'll talk about each other. They'll be like, "Oh yeah, he's not that good because XYZ," and vice versa. And it's like kind of fascinating to watch. It's almost like two MMA fighters that are both good, but then they talk about each other. They're like, "Oh yeah, that guy's not that good."
I mean, I try to keep it like 100%. I don't like John,
I mean,
but
I mean, Brad, based on what you and what Alex have said, basically, if I took you guys what you're saying seriously, basically, as I think Alex has already admitted this, I would be in a position where I could not assess that Alex is a legitimate dating coach, that Denton is a legitimate dating coach, that John is a legitimate dating coach, that I would be stuck in epistemic uncertainty, that I would have to remain agnostic, that I wouldn't be able to buy any products and services without
no,
making a giant
hang
leap
on,
of faith.
Bro,
And
man,
if that was the case, it would actually reduce my customer base. It would actually be like I'd actually be more skeptical to buy products. So I'm happy with that's your conclusion. That's your ending.
you can
That's your
absolutely
conclusion.
no, it's not. You can absolutely buy products, but it is going to be more of a leap of faith for you than it is for me, right? Someone
No,
who's
it's
really
going, it's, no, no, no. It's going to think about it. It's going to be a leap of faith for a gigantic percentage of
right.
a
It
potential
is.
customer
That's
base.
very true. Yeah, that is true. It is a big leap
Thank
of
you.
faith
Yep.
for most people, for sure.
I mean,
100%.
not really. I don't see how. So if there's a coach that I've seen him post a shitload of infield consistently pulling hot girls, I'm probably going to buy his product. I don't see how that's a leap of faith.
It is the point that Elevation is making, which I actually agree with, is that if you're very inexperienced, that you don't really know what you're looking for, well, at least not nearly as much as someone who's experienced, right? But I think like if I was in your situation, I would very much take an agnostic position, like I do when it comes to marketing, right? I don't like say to my marketing guy, dude, you're wrong. I know you're wrong. Because I'm like, I don't really have that much experience with internet marketing. So it may not sound good to me, but I don't have enough experience. I don't have nearly as much experience as him. So I'm probably going to defer to someone who I trust, who has much more experience in that field. Like, I think that's like a way more reasonable conclusion than to be like, you're long about, John Anthony, he has a shit game. I don't really have any experience with girls, but
I just don't understand, like, Brad, why are you saying what you just said? Why are you saying that like are you implying that we shouldn't be skeptical here? Like, given all of the information Alex has shared with us, like, how did you reach the conclusion you came to?
What information are you talking about? All the information Alex has shared.
Yeah, I mean, based on the entire interaction, I think at least Alex and I agree on this final point, right? So I'm just wondering why you think that means that you don't have to, like, for example, why would a person who is me not have to have a lack of faith when it comes to, like, who is a legitimate dating coach, whether it's Denton or Alex or John Anthony? Like,
I'm
why
gonna take a
wouldn't
piss
there
while
be?
you guys discuss this.
Yeah, why wouldn't there be a level of faith involved? A big
Uh,
leap of faith, according to Alex.
Repeat, like my internet cut out for like 10 seconds. Can you repeat like the last 10 seconds?
Yeah. Sorry about that. Okay.
So
So the question is, based on everything that Alex has said, right? I, as a person, if I have a low lay count, or if I'm an incel, or if I have a lack of social competence, etc., right? Then I have to have an above average level of faith to think that either Denton or John or Alex or Marcus Wolf, that I should buy their products, that they have, like, they are legitimately experts or advanced level. And I'm wondering, because you said that, you correct me if I'm wrong, but you said that you don't think that would require a level of faith for people like me who are prospective customers to these people, right? But I would say, based on what Alex has did, based on what I've been asking him, we are stuck in a position where we would have to have a massive level of faith, and therefore we would be skeptical, and therefore we wouldn't end up buying their products and services.
Well,
I mean,
no,
so
you
I
can hang on. That's you're coming to the wrong conclusion. Just because you need to take a leap of faith does not mean that you can't buy the product. I literally just fucking ordered or whatever, like started working with a marketing guy who charges $6,000 a month, and that was a massive leap of faith. So people take leap of faith all the time, but I would be much more qualified to evaluate whether this marketing guy is going to, do my business good or not if I had a lot of experience with marketing. Fortunately, I have a really good friend who knows marketing, so I ran it by him. But yeah, like, I think that doesn't mean just because you're not sure about something doesn't mean that you can't, like, you can't move forward with something. A lot of
Well, I
things
mean,
in life
obviously that depends on some extent to your wealth, your status, and your income. There's other factors involved. But the real thing I'm trying to challenge on Brad here is the fact that the exact phrase, as I heard it, you can tell me if I'm wrong, Alex or Brad, was about that it wouldn't take a big leap or level of faith. I think it would. So that's the part I'm questioning. Like, how am I wrong on that?
Wait, can we get back to the debate between me and you? I don't want to. Brad isn't even here anymore. Okay, I pulled up a clip and of John Anthony, but it won't let me add it to the screen. So can anyone else share the screen?
Well,
Like,
okay, we can, like, I don't know if I
No,
want to
Greg's
do
not
this.
here,
I
so
don't
no
know
one
if I
can
want to
share.
do this now, but because I've got a computer in my office here, and I'm probably going to have it set up tomorrow, so that I could probably do it when I have, like, my 22-inch screen here. But if you want to do it this way, I can at least try one video if you're prepared to do that.
it won't. We won't be able to add it because we're not the host. So without Greg, we won't be able to share the screen.
Right.
But okay,
If it matters enough, I can throw a StreamYard if y'all want a new one. But
no, that's fine. I don't
Okay.
want to start a new one. But
sure.
okay, so we can, I guess, leave the infield evaluation for another time. Okay, so what are some of your other points of contention with me? Because it seems like you really, really don't like me, and just the fact that you disagree with my opinion about John and that, like, technicality thing we discussed in the beginning, that's like not enough for someone to, like, fucking, like, hate the other person.
Well, I don't know why you think I hate you. Like, first of all,
Because you talk shit about me in every single stream multiple times.
No, first of all, First of all, I haven't been on one of these streams in like 2 or 3 days, right? So I don't know why you're thinking that. I did come on today's stream, the speed dating stream, but most not like I wouldn't say most of my comments are about you. That the stream, for example, most of my comments were about Josh or the person who was speed dating. So yes,
Have you
sometimes in
ever
past
said
I make a
anything?
criticism,
Have
but
you ever said
it's not
anything
always
positive
hate
about
watching,
me?
right?
Have you ever said
Sorry?
anything positive about me?
Yeah, no, I do have I have positive views about you. Sure.
You've never said anything positive. I see you in like literally almost every stream. You were in my speed dating thing before. When I'm on Greg's channel, you here. You're almost always there, and every single thing that you say
No, I'm
is
not.
negative.
You're wrong. I haven't. I don't go on every stream because I'm going to be honest. Some of the speed dates bore me, but I do come every now and then. Maybe I'll come like I reckon at least twice a week to the speed dates. I probably come to Greg's channel more than your channel, and even when I come, I'm not always talking about. There's a whole bunch of other people to troll. There's a whole
Yes,
bunch of other people to
you're not
critique.
you're right. You're not just talking about me, but you do talk about me like every single stream, and you always say negative things. You have never once said anything positive about me. So you're not being like, okay, I like this about Alex, I don't like this about Alex. Like clearly you fucking really dislike me, right? So I'm just curious, is there more to it than the fact that you
I
there's
get.
more
I said I
to it
don't
than the
care
fact that you just
I don't get
disagree with my
if you
opinion?
call me a hater, if you call me a hate watcher. I'm cool with that. Maybe that's your perception of me. I said I'm cool with that at the start. You can call me a hater. You can call me a
Bro,
hate watcher. That's cool. But
you're
you can also
every
evaluate
single
what I'm
time
saying
you
because
fucking massive shit.
not everything I've said about you is the way that you're presenting it, right? Sometimes I say that stuff. It's trolling, like the one that you said earlier on about like, oh, he paid you for 10 calls, but you only did 2 calls, and obviously I was just trolling on some of these cases, right? You're not also the main person that I'm always making a comment on the text. Sometimes there's some streams where I did go a little bit more at you, but there's other streams where I went a little bit more at Coach Josh.
Yeah, bro,
There's
I
other.
get it.
In fact, you know what? I was actually
You
attacking Coach Josh and John Anthony long before you, bro.
yeah, I understand there's other people that you hate and there's other people you talk shit about, but that doesn't really change the point is that you're constantly talking shit about me. And there's got to be more of a reason than the fact that you disagree with my opinion on John Anthony. So what is it? Did I fuck your girlfriend accidentally? What's the deal? Did I bang your mom? Like, there's got to be a more substantial reason for why you hate me so much than you disagree with my opinion on John
Again,
Anthony.
you you can call me a hater, but you're just making obviously an assessment that you really have no epistemic access to. You can't really make that claim with any a strong level of certitude.
By the fact that you're in like
Fine if
almost
you
like
want to believe it,
that
though.
you're
But
that you're talking shit about me in the chat like almost every day. Almost every day you're in the chat just talking shit, talking more shit, and talking more shit.
There's a difference between critiquing someone and hating someone. I think there's a gigantic difference. When I hate on you, I've never said this kind of things. For example, as you said, your old buddy, your former friend, John Anthony said, he shat all over you. He shat all over your girlfriend. He even shat on your skills outside of online game and Tinder game. He said that you weren't that great. He said you're about intermediate. He even did that, right? I've never gone to that length of just shitting all over you. What I've done is I've just made criticisms when they come up.
Okay, so what I'm
That's what I do
asking
with
you,
Josh. That's what I do with you.
what are some other criticisms?
Yeah. I have other criticisms.
Okay, what
I
other?
don't know if I'm going to go all over all of them this evening, but okay. So basically, I would say in terms of some of the other companies that you have critiqued or found fault with, I would say I disagree with some criticisms. Those are the
Which ones?
initial criticisms. Those are the initial criticisms where I started expressing my disagreement. There are others, but those ones were the first ones. So
Which of the
one of the
companies? Which
yeah,
other
yeah, sure.
company?
I'll give you an example. More common ones was your criticism of RSD saying or preaching that looks don't matter. I have been watching RSD for a long, long time, and I think that you really took the intended meaning out of that out of that context, out of that quote, and you didn't understand it properly, and then you presented that company as if they were completely idiotic in the sense that how could someone possibly, even Todd himself, you gave an example, like how could you be stupid to say that looks don't matter, right? But I think you completely missed the point of what they were saying, because if you go back to their product, for example, around 2007-ish, this was like their third, fourth product, I think it was the Blueprint. Tyler explicitly, clearly says if you have looks, there's an advantage, and he gives an analogy, and he talks about, for example, the basketball analogy, where I think I don't know which figure he used. I think
Okay.
he used
There's a
James
video of
as his
Tyler
example.
saying that looks matter, literally 0%. So he said that even though Julian's a lot better looking than me,
Yes,
if
in the context
hang on,
of his actual philosophy.
let me
That's
finish.
that's
Let me finish.
true. In the context of his philosophy, it's not
Okay.
just
Okay.
without qualification looks matter.
Again,
He qualifies it on multiple occasions. Sometimes
Okay.
he doesn't qualify it because he expects you to know the background context for where and why he makes those statements, because it's kind of like going to an academic and just taking something they say out of YouTube instead of going to their
Okay, once again, I'm going to finish
services
my
or
statement.
peer-reviewed
I'm going to
literature.
finish my statement because you interrupted me. Okay, in that video, RSD Tyler says looks matter, looks matter 0%. So he said even though Julian's a lot better looking than me, if we go out and I'm 1% in a better
Showed us
mood,
the qualification already. Showed us what was the qualification.
Let me finish.
What was it?
I'm in 1% of more
Dude, what did
social
he say?
state. I'm trying to explain it to you, but you keep interrupting me. So just like close your mouth and let me finish, and then you can respond. So he said that looks matter 0%. So even though Julian's a lot better looking than me when we go out, even if I'm 1% more in a better state, I will get more girls than him, because that's how little looks matter. Looks matter 0. So all it takes is a 1% difference in me being in a better state, and I will do better than him when it comes to girls. So in that statement, he's explicitly saying that looks matter 0%.
Hello? I think you're
Yeah.
breaking.
Okay. Do you need me to repeat myself? Do you need me to repeat myself?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine.
Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you, bro.
Yeah, I can hear you, dude.
Yeah. Do you need me to repeat myself, or did you hear that?
Yeah, no, I think you yourself just gave an example of a statement where and when in the context that he provided why looks doesn't matter in that specific context. So you actually gave the qualifier. So I'm not sure what is your objection here.
Because he's essentially saying that looks matter 0%. And that is absurd.
Yeah, but what you yourself just gave the two qualifications of why and why he said that. Like, what was the pretext? What was the context?
Because he's saying that all it takes, so me and I don't know, someone who's really ugly go out, and I'm in a 1% better mood, I will get more, or sorry, he's in a 1% better mood than me, he will get more girls than me. So again, he's saying that looks matter 0. There's no difference to looks. Looks have no effect on your results with women, which is absurd.
Okay. So am I allowed to go over his overall philosophy or not?
You can do whatever you want, but I mean, yeah, I'd like you to acknowledge what I said, engage with it. So again,
what exactly do you want me to acknowledge?
That in that quote, Tyler is saying looks don't matter at all; they matter 0.
Okay. Does he give any parameters for that?
No, he literally just says that. Again,
okay. I mean, I don't know how to reason with you, because you literally gave at least 2, and then you're saying no, they don't exist. All he said was that looks matter 0%. That's not all he said.
I'm talking about additional ones that have a mantra, but the qualifiers imply, even with the qualifiers, it implies that for anyone, looks don't matter. Because I go out with some Giga Chat, I go out with Brad Pitt, I'm in a 1% better mood, I will get more girls than him. Therefore, looks don't matter at all.
Okay. So you yourself are now stating the qualifiers.
You're so focused on the qualifiers. Engage in like the big picture of what I'm saying.
Okay. Are you engaging in the big picture of what Tyler said?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, have you seen the blueprint? Yes or no?
Dude, it was like fucking like 12 years ago.
Okay. Okay. Have you seen any of his long tangents about limiting beliefs such as
Yeah,
looks, money, romance?
I watched a lot of his stuff. He kind of contradicts himself. In some videos, he says like, "Yeah, just go to the gym." He talks about like wins. And in other videos, he says looks matter 0%. They have no effect on your results.
Okay. 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 Good. So I'm glad that you at least acknowledge what you perceive as a contradiction, right? Because the reason why you perceive that as a contradiction is because out of context, it's always going to sound like a contradiction. If you can just pull a statement where he says looks matter 0%, and you said you added, I think you added the word uh, anyone. I think was the word the word that you mentioned, right? So the reason why he says that is because when you go out, right? I'll give several reasons, but the first and primary reason of why um, going out matters. And when he says going out, by the way, he has a massive action philosophy connected to that. If you've ever heard one of his tangents or rants, he connects going out with taking massive action. That's his philosophy. So when
Yes.
you go out and you take massive action and then you start getting into the zone, you start getting into a flow state, that is the context in which looks don't matter. Now, the reason there's several reasons other than just that reason, but one of the reasons why looks don't matter in that context, because even if you had the looks, but you went out and you didn't approach, there would be a less probability that woman would approach you. You as a man, in his philosophy, have to do the approaching. I think that's generally true. You can
Bro,
tell
it
me if you
sounds like you're
disagree.
doing insane mental gymnastics to like basically like get out of the fact that he said that looks don't matter at all. I mean, like I've never seen this level of mental gymnastics. Okay, let me ask you this question. I go out with a guy who's ugly as fuck. He's really ugly, but he has the same level as game as me. Do you think if he's that day in a 1% better mood, that he will do better with girls than I will?
Yeah, if he's in flow state and you're not in flow state, yeah, he will do
But
better. Yeah,
wait, hang on. He only 1%. His flow state is only 1% better than my flow state.
yeah, yeah. I think that's possible. Yeah, I can't like obviously confirm or verify
Wait, you
every
hang on.
example.
You think if I go out with a really ugly guy who's like a fucking one, and he's in a 1% more of a flow state than I am, that he will do better? Really?
Yeah, that's definitely a possibility for sure.
I mean, this just kind of shows me how little experience you have with women. The fact that you think that a really ugly guy, all he has to do is be in a 1%
I
better
mean,
state,
I don't want to get
and
too
he'll be
personal
better.
here, but I am an ugly guy.
Well, right, but that's probably one of the reasons why you're not successful with women. I mean, sorry.
I mean, you can make that assumption, but again, you don't know what you're talking about. But yeah,
Well, but because you won't answer the question. Because any guy who has experience with women would just answer the question. Because of the fact that you're dodging
it's
that
not
question.
true. Again, you're just making up something out of thin air and then saying, "Oh, that applies." No, it doesn't. It's not true.
So are you telling me you have a lot of experience with women? You've slept with a lot of girls, you've had a
I
lot of
have a
relations?
lot of experience with women, shitloads, probably more than you, but that doesn't matter because it's irrelevant.
Okay, but I want to see like has that experience ever led to anything? So once again, what is your body count?
Okay, I don't know how how is that relevant to the current discussion?
Because I want to figure out whether you have the necessary fundamental experience to properly evaluate this kind of stuff. Now, you've said a lot of things that suggest that you actually know very little about women in game. And your
Okay,
statement
let me
that
ask you a question. Let me ask you an honest
you
question.
just deflecting.
Do you think that you were better than Tyler in his prime
Yeah.
at
Well, when it
game?
comes to what? Are we talking about just picking up girls?
Yeah, yeah. Let's start with picking up girls, and then we'll
Yeah,
go into coaching.
100%. Yeah.
Okay. And do you think you're a better coach than Tyler in his prime?
I don't. I've never like watched him do coaching, but from what I've seen and heard, then yeah, I do think I'm much better.
Okay. And would you consider what you've seen and heard, would you consider like John Anthony a legitimate source of that information?
Well, it's my information isn't just based on John Anthony. That's actually I don't really take what he says like seriously. So it's based on like a whole bunch of other people.
Okay, that's fair. So are you saying that like there's a wealth of people that have come to you and said that in his prime, I didn't really think that Tyler was good at game, or at least he was not advanced, etc.
There's a whole bunch of people who say that I don't think Tyler has a good game. There's a whole bunch of not less so, but there's still some people who say, yeah, I did an RSD boot camp with Tyler and it was a waste of time. He didn't really pay attention to me. He was just like fucking on his phone. So yeah, there's a whole bunch of
Yeah, no,
stories.
I can grant you that, but I don't think being a bad coach on some of the boot camps is equivalent to a fair analysis of his competence in his game.
Well, we're going off the information we have available. You have even less information available because you're not a coach. I'm assuming you've never done his boot camp. I'm assuming you don't have.
You're assuming a lot, but yeah, go ahead.
Well, am I wrong about anything?
Yeah, I mean you are, but it doesn't matter.
Well, what am I wrong about?
I mean, we can debate the merits. We can debate the merits of everything, but let's
Bro,
go
you
back to
keep
the actual.
dodging. Like, why are you dodging so much? Tell me what I'm wrong about.
That's what we're discussing right now. I don't understand what the issue is.
Well, no. You said no. Hang on. I made the statement that that you're not a coach. That what was the other statement? That you don't have experience with women, and that you don't have like successful experience with women. You're wrong. So what am I wrong about?
Yeah, I've gone on it. We're going over an example of what you're wrong about right now.
No. We're talking about two different things. Your opinion is that RSD Tyler is really solid, or at least he was in his prime. I'm saying that you're not a coach, that you don't have countless people emailing you, giving their experience, right? That you don't really have the experience with women to know what you're looking for. You're not in this industry.
Yeah.
You're not in this industry.
I've granted you all of those assumptions, right?
But okay, so then don't say I'm wrong.
For example, where do you think Julian Blanc, like, who do you think coached him? Where do you think he got his skills from?
I think he learned from a variety of sources, but I'm sure Tyler was a big influence.
Yeah, exactly. So what level of you must think that he has at least some level of coaching ability.
Yeah, I think. Well, I don't know. I can't comment on his coaching, but in terms of his game, yeah, I think he's solid. But there's massive differences between them. One, Julian is really good looking. Tyler is ugly as fuck. So that plays into his ability to get positive reactions, which plays into your ability to develop. Hang on. Let me finish. Number two is the fact that Julian isn't like autistic. He's funny. He can maintain a normal conversation. He's kind of witty. Tyler is neither one of those things. So yeah, I mean they're very fundamentally different people. We're like talking about the difference between like a fucking really shitty Honda Civic and like a fucking Ferrari. Right? Even if you put some shit in the Honda Civic, it's never going to be as good as the Ferrari. So those two never started at the same point. Like Julian started way ahead of Tyler.
Right. Okay. So I think I can agree with that to some extent. I definitely think Julian had a head start in many facets, including his looks. But then how come then they both came to the same conclusion about looks that they did? Like,
well, because that's the RSD company policies say looks don't matter. You saw when Todd.
Do you think that Tyler and Julian are being disingenuous about that? Do you think they're being disingenuous when they say that or not?
Okay. Yes, I absolutely think they're being disingenuous. When Todd left RSD, the first thing he said is, "Are you guys stupid? Of course looks matter." So Todd basically admitted that was like the company rhetoric, and that as soon as he left, he started saying, "Of course looks matter." So yeah, that's they're being disingenuous because they're going to get more sales. Because
so you genuinely think they were disingenuous on their own boot camp.
Okay, because if you say that looks don't matter, then that gives hope to the ugly guys. But if you say, yeah, of course looks matter, then guys who are not attractive are going to be like, well, what's the point of me learning this game shit, right? So it's much better from a business perspective to say looks don't matter. 100%.
Okay, so they're only saying that from a business perspective, even though the very quote that you gave the exact context in which they think that looks matters 0%, even though
If
they
you
gave the specific conditions that were conditions that
no,
could only
the condition
learn
is
taken in from infield
you're
experience.
so thick, it's insane. The condition was it was an analogy to say this is how little looks matter, because if I'm in a 1% better mood, I will do better than this person who's a lot better looking than me. The conclusion was therefore looks don't matter
Okay,
at
okay.
all.
Do you
So it was
think
just an
when
analogy.
they're talking about that, do you think they're talking about a business office?
Do I think they're talking about what?
Do you think, for example, that the statement that he's making that you quoted, that he's, for example, that it would include a business office setting where there's like a guy who's a 1, there's a guy who's a 7, and then if the one guy is 1% in a better mood by 1%, then that's applicable to him. Like, is that what your understanding of the statement, or not?
No, they're talking about attraction with women, like pickup.
Right, right. So what they're talking about is cold approach pickup. You typically it occurs in their context in a nightclub setting or in a street game setting, right? So in that context, they're saying flow state matters more than looks. You happen to disagree with that statement, but I'm not sure how you can say that that's just a business rhetoric when that is the very corroborated testimony that they've held ever since the start. Even in the time that they were under mystery, they held the same belief system, because
Okay.
their emphasis is on flow state, their emphasis is on infield, their emphasis is on field is king. That's
Okay,
their
so,
emphasis.
so why do you think right after Todd left RSD, he started saying, "Of course, looks matter"? Are you guys stupid? Why do you think he completely changed his
They
position?
never denied that. Again, they never, even you said that you understood him somewhat as contradictory, right? Because they
Dude,
never
Todd
denied
went
the
from
looks matter.
saying looks don't matter at all, and then when he did his
No, no, go
when
to
he-
the
hang on, hang on.
blueprint. Go to
When when he
2007.
okay
He's saying
when
exactly the same that he's always said. He even interprets it for himself in the future on multiple occasions.
okay
What he said when he says
once
looks don't
again,
matter, he
hang
says
on,
what
hang on.
RSD has
Let me
always
finish
meant
the
by this.
statement.
He
Hang
said
on.
that looks is not an excuse. That's what he said. That's what they said. It means if you take massive action, if you predicate yourself in the philosophy of self-help and taking massive action and getting into the zone, that is the context in which looks will never matter, because you will always get a result in that context. That's why they don't matter in that context. That's what he said. That's what he believed. He taught that
Okay.
consistently. He taught that
That,
uniformly.
that was very nice backwards rationalization to sim for RSD.
It's
But
not a
once-
backwards rationalization. You
Shut
can
up, shut up.
literally
You
look
talk
at
for a
their
while. Let me
products.
talk. Hang on. Stop. Let me talk. Okay. Don't you think it's a little odd that Todd, as soon as he left RSD, was saying, guys, this whole idea looks don't matter is a lie. Of course looks matter. Are you guys fucking stupid? Why do you think he said that?
I think he said that because I think he said, if you want the honest, real reason, in my opinion, the reason why he said that is because he wanted to seem more plausible so that he would get more business. Now, the reason why that's not a good thing to say when it comes to RSD is because by RSD saying looks don't matter in these certain contexts, people are going to be put off by that. They're going to be more skeptical of RSD. They're going to be less trustful of RSD, because most people, when they look at that statement out of context, they're going to think, "Oh, this guy's a
Okay. Do you
fruit."
think it's more important to tell people the truth or tell them what they want to hear? What sounds nice?
I think that because RSD told the truth, then you get people like you who are competitors, like you and Todd, who try to steal a part of their customer base and seem more plausible than that when they
Dude,
are.
I don't
When
give
you
a
guys
shit.
are
I
being
already
somewhat
have
disingenuous.
I already have more than enough money. I don't really care. I was describing this earlier, all the things I could do to make way more money. I don't really care that much about making more money. Okay, do you personally think
I
that
don't know about that, man. I mean, I've heard you make contradictory claims on different streams. So I don't know if I buy the claim that you have a lot of
Okay,
money.
well, you can buy it or not buy it. Do you think that looks matter personally?
Yes.
Okay, so you do think they matter. So do you think that you said you're ugly, right? So do you think if you and I go out and you're in a 1% better mood than me, that you will get more girls than I will?
I wouldn't probably say 1%, but I would probably say, because I understand why he's saying 1%, though. He's saying 1% because he means like fully committed action. Like when you have that fully committed action, there's nothing that will stop you from getting or prevent you from getting a result despite your looks. There's no excuse whatsoever you can come up with that extremist philosophy of RSD. Me speaking, I'm not an extremist. I'm not into that sort of philosophy to that extent, right? So with me, I would say if I was in like a 50 or 60% better mood than you, then yeah, I would have some sort of advantage. Yes.
So you think, despite the fact that you're ugly, that you would do, if you're in a better mood, that you would actually do better than me if it's like 50%?
I don't know about better, but I would at least do equivalent. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, again, this just kind of like shows me how little you know about like sexual dynamics and girls, because
Okay,
then
you're welcome to show me
absolutely,
empirically where I'm wrong.
absolutely not the case. Like, well,
Okay,
you've
show
said
me
a
where
lot.
I'm wrong.
Well, you said a whole bunch of things that you're fundamentally wrong about, and this is one of them.
Which one?
Where you think that, even though I don't know how ugly you are, but let's just assume you're like a 2, that if a 2 could get better or equal to results as someone who's like, I don't know what I am, a 6.5, just because he's in a 50% better mood. Doesn't work that way. Sorry,
Okay,
but
how do you
and
know
again,
that?
this is because I've
How
gone
do you
out
know
with
that?
guys, because I've gone out with guys uglier than me. I've gone out with
Okay,
guys.
I've gone out with guys as well. How do you know that?
Right, but we've already established that you don't really have any experience with women, so your opinion is like largely
Well,
irrelevant.
actually, we haven't established that. We've assumed that. But
Okay,
how do
so
you know
then,
that?
just answer the question: what is your body count?
Again, that's not relevant to
Stop,
finding
stop
out
running.
evaluating
Okay,
social
dude,
experience with women.
you've spent half an hour giving me reasons why you can't answer that question. Stop running, stop dodging, and
I
just
mean, I'll
answer the
answer
question.
it when it becomes relevant, but you haven't made it relevant.
Dude, oh my god. Why can't you just answer a simple question? It's so cringe how you run from
Because
this
it's not
question.
relevant. I'm not going to answer any question that is a red herring.
Oh my god, dude. I think the real reason is that you're just embarrassed of the answer, because the answer is 0, 1, or maybe
Dude,
2 at most.
if I'm embarrassed of the answer, why did I just say if I think I'm in a better mood?
Because you're always going to say that's not relevant, because you're going to keep dodging. This is the most cringe attempt I've ever seen to
Okay,
die.
so how do you know that I'm always going to say that it's not relevant? How do you know that?
Because that's what you've been doing this whole stream.
I actually only said that in cases where it was actually irrelevant.
Okay, so just humor me. It'll take you 2 seconds to answer the question. Just humor me. Go ahead.
I mean, I told you my answer already.
Oh my God. Dude, it's so fucking cringe. You just keep dodging and dodging and dodging. You literally answer every single other question.
I don't know. Every time I seem to ask you a question that requires some sort of empirical social knowledge, you then go back to what's your lay count. But my question was, what have I said that was wrong, and how do you know that it's
the only
wrong?
empirical metric when it comes to this is your success with women, like how many girls you slept with, how many girls you dated.
It's like,
There's
I don't know,
no,
it's like you're a dating coach,
because
but
this stuff
actually
is not
believe that
really
social
empirical.
skills
It's
exist.
based like my opinion versus your opinion, right? You think that, you know, looks matter, whatever, like fucking 50%, or you think that
the only way that you can know that being in a flow state can translate into equivalent or better states, better results than just being good looking is if you actually have infield experience. That's how you fucking know that.
right, and I also have infield experience. I probably have more infield experience than you, and my infield experience
Dude, here's
directly,
the thing. I'm not even the one who came up. I'm not the
your
one who came up
experience.
with this philosophy. Denton did, right? Denton also
Dude,
propagated the same
I don't
philosophy.
care
So
about
why are these dating coaches all
Why would
cooperating on this point that you're
Why
not?
would I care about what Denton says? What Denton says is completely irrelevant to this discussion. There's also a whole bunch of other coaches and red pillars who will say that looks are by far more important than games. So there's a whole bunch of people who say all
And that's
kinds
the
of things.
thing, because red pillars don't really know game. That you're acting like a red pillar, which is really dodgy.
No, I'm just simply speaking the truth. And again, like, dude, it would be in my best interest to say looks don't matter. I could sell more products, but I'm not going to lie to my audience.
No, that's the thing. You won't sell more products because less people will be likely to believe you if you say looks don't matter. So that's not.
No, it's a much better selling
But you're
point.
not answering the question anyway. You said you've gone out into the field. So if infield is the basis of your testimony, if it's the basis of your witness to this specific facet, then how come you don't know from years of going out in infield that you can have a client that is good looking and shit versus an average looking or a below average looking client like a 4 or a 3 or whatever who gets into the flow state and they fucking kill it? How can you not know that?
You're completely strawmanning my whole position. I never said that. Of course, you can have a really good looking guy who sucks. I've publicly said that many times, and you can have a guy who's like average looking who does pretty well. But we're talking about a situation where these guys have a similar level of social skills in game, but one of them is in a 1% better whatever flow state.
You never said that. You never said they have the same looks level and the same amount of game. If you had have said that, obviously I would say the guy with the looks has the greater advantage. Obviously, that's just
Okay. Well, that's what we're talking about. I don't know how you missed that, but yeah, it's of course if one of the guys is ultra cringe and one of the guys is like has really good social skills, then that could kind of counterbalance the looks thing. But we're talking about a situation where they both have similar level of social skills, similar level of game. One of them is a lot better looking. One of them is like a lot worse looking, but the worst looking guy is in a better state that day, or he's in a better mood that day.
Yeah, I mean, I've given my perspective on this. I can only go by what I've seen, right? So what else am I expected to do? Am I expected to be?
Well,
like,
I mean, I think if I was in your shoes, I would. Hang on, let me get a bottle of water. I think if I was in your shoes, instead of making these definitive statements about a topic you know close to nothing about, I would just be more agnostic and more humble and just be like, you know what? Let me defer to someone who probably knows.
That's a really good point. Like, why aren't you more agnostic and more humble when, for example, Denton has given the exact same point of view that I have, and he does have experience?
Because I think that one, I'm better than Denton, and no offense to Denton, love him, but yeah. And two, this is an area that I know a lot about. I am. Hang on, shut up. I am humble about. Hang on, stop. I am humble about areas of my life that I don't know a lot about, like marketing, like I don't know, maybe like health and stuff like that. So there are areas of life that I am humble about, which are areas I know. Hang on, dude, shut up. Let me finish. I am. Hang on, stop. I am humble about areas that I don't know much about, but this is an area that I know a lot about.
How do you know about game when you don't even practice game like Denton does? What are you fucking talking about? You know you only make the rare odd occasion in the approach in the day. You've said that on multiple videos. So how are you going to say you have more experience than Denton, who is a game obsessed fanatic similar to RSC?
Do you have some kind of like crush on Denton or something? I don't understand why you're simping for him so hard.
I'm just saying I can only go by what you've both claims that you've made, and obviously they're different claims. One is
because quantity is a lot less important than quality.
The other is in a relationship, and he sparingly does a cold approach because he's more interested in business. It's a fact. This is on record.
Yeah, well, quantity is a lot less important than quality. So yeah, I would if we're going off like infields that I've seen or speed dates, I would say that, you know, I have better game than Denton from what I've seen.
Dude, dude, that's really weird that you said I think you said quantity is less important than quality, because it's weird because I think even John Anthony is on the record as saying something, but I think 90% of his approaches are rejections. 10% I think he ends up sleeping with. So I think quantity matters a fucking lot, bro.
Okay, there's so many fundamental differences between me and Denton. Denton drinks. He likes to drink. I don't drink. So therefore, when I go out, I remember everything better. And it's a different type of experience. There's a lot, again, I don't want to like put Denton's business out there, but there's a lot of differences between us. And so, yeah, like, again, this comes down to opinion. If we like, the only objective metric is like lay count, how many girlfriends we've had. I don't really know his league count off the top of my head, but if we're going off like, oh, who do I think is better? I personally believe that I am better than Denton. Doesn't mean I think I'm the best. I think Austin is better than me. I think Marcus is better than me. I think John Anthony, when it comes to cold approach, is better than me. But yeah, I do think I'm better than Denton from what I've seen. Again, going off his infields and going off his speed date performance.
Okay, so how is Denton coming to the same conclusions as me if I have zero experience? He at least has some level of experience. So why is he thinking similarly to me?
Okay, how do we account for the fact that there's a whole bunch of other people who've come to similar conclusions as me?
Well, that's genuinely what I have to investigate, right?
It doesn't matter what some random person on the internet thinks. Like there's a whole bunch of people. I guarantee there will be more people who agree with me than there will be people who agree with you. But it doesn't matter. Just because there's more content creators who agree with me is irrelevant.
How do we then determine who's right?
Well, to some extent, we won't be able to 100% determine, but it's going to be probabilities. But again, if you're if you're a guy who doesn't have much experience with women, you don't really know what you're looking for. I think it's a much more reasonable position to be like, he doesn't seem like he's good, but I don't know, right? Versus your position is like, well, this one other guy on the internet thinks he's good, so therefore, he must be good.
I don't think I've ever made that. That's a bit of a straw man. What I said is that I gave Dixon as an example of someone who is sort of, in a sense, carrying on the RSC philosophy of flow state matters, massive approaching matters, the setting matters. There's so many variables that can sort of overcome a looks barrier, even when you're with a good looking guy. Sometimes those factors might not overcome the look threshold, but sometimes they do overcome the threshold. And I've just pointed to examples of some people who had pointed this out, and you're saying, oh, you have no experience, so how could you possibly determine this? It's like, well, it's just evident, even if you're not your level or Denton's level, obviously there are random variables that will at play, and not every time the better looking guy is going to beat the worst looking guy.
Again, complete straw man, because no one is saying that it's going to be every time. We're not talking every time. We're talking averages. And 100%, if you're in a situation where one guy's ugly, one guy's good looking, they have the same level of social skills, and that ugly guy is in a 1%, 10%, 50% better state, the good looking guy will still, on average, do better than him. Doesn't mean every good looking guy is going to do good. Doesn't mean every ugly guy is not going to do good. We're talking about averages.
We haven't been discussing someone who has an equal look match, an equal game match, an equal charisma match. I'm not sure where you're getting that as the basis of this discussion. The basis.
Okay, I thought that was like super duper obvious. Okay, let me ask you this question: who do you think are the top 5 pickup artists or pickup companies?
If we go back to the quote that you read from Tyler and Owen, that was the basis of this discussion. It wasn't a discussion about averages. It was a discussion about a certain comment that had qualifications, and within the parameters of those qualifications, the boundaries of look can be overcome. That was the context of the discussion. So I don't know why you.
No, it wasn't, dude. We're talking about whether looks matter less than 1%. We're talking about Tyler's quote that looks matter 0. Because he used the second thing as an analogy. Hang on, shut up. He used it. Hang on, shut up. Hang on. Let me finish my statement. He was saying that
still get a result even if you.
Okay, stop. I'm not even listening to you because you're just like fucking ranting. We're talking about in the context of Tyler saying that looks matter so little that me and a really good looking guy who are both like, good, if I'm in a 1% better state, I will do better than him. So he's using that as an analogy to say looks matter 0% in that quote. I mean, I think that's like super duper obvious. But once again, my question is this.
He's not talking about a business setting. He's talking about.
Yes, he's talking about pickup. Yes, he's talking about game.
For hours and hours at nightclubs, on street game, and in flow state. That is the context of that statement.
The backwards rationalization is like off the charts. Okay.
You literally read the quote, and I gave you the word.
I think you just want to like really badly simp for RSD. Okay, so who are your top 5 favorite pickup? Who do you think are the top 5 best?
It's not something for Ari to point out the correct context in which they made these claims.
Okay, once again, who are the top 5? Okay, I've heard enough of your backwards rationalization. Who are your top 5 pickup companies?
To demonstrate the backwards rationalization. Does Blueprint not exist? Can you not go and check for yourself?
Well, I've already acknowledged that RSD Tyler contradicts himself. So is it possible that during Blueprint he said one thing and during other videos he said other things? Absolutely.
Okay, so how come it wouldn't be fair to offer charitable harmonization, given that from the very start he made qualifications about what he meant, and he made them years later, and he made them again a couple of years later, and he continuously goes into more detail because he's not a shallow thinker, right? He goes into in depth detail.
Okay. Do you think if 10 years ago I said that, hey guys, I think you should buy my product because it's really good and it's probably going to help you with girls, and then a few years later I start saying like, hey guys, my product is going to get every single person good with girls in like 2 weeks, and I start saying there's no way, there's a 0% chance you can go wrong with my product. It is 100% going to get you good with girls. Do you think that you would be justifying that and saying, well, 5 years ago, Alex said this, so, technically that's what he means? Or do you think you would be attacking me saying, yo, this guy's talking out of his ass?
Well, I mean, we've already sort of gone over this. First of all, I think that's a false analogy. And secondly, the ultimate problem with that is that you've already made a similar claim to that about the minimum 1 month period. And obviously that's bullshit.
Not related at all. Okay, you're not engaging with what I'm saying. Again, once again, my question is, what are the top 5 pickup artists in your opinion?
Why are you asking me? I'm not an expert.
I want to hear your opinion. You're giving me your opinion that you think RC Tyler is pretty good, better than I say, and that John sucks. So I want to get like a perspective. Who do you think?
All I said was that there is some people who have years of infield experience and they don't necessarily share the same conclusions as you, and they don't rationalize things the same way as you. And one of them happens to be an acquaintance or friend of yours, Denton. That's all I'm really saying. And so
once again, please don't dodge this question.
I can just disqualify you. Should I just disqualify you and him?
Okay.
What should I do?
Okay, I'd like for you not to dodge this question. Just answer it. Who do you think are the top 5 pickup artists in the world?
How is that relevant?
Oh my God, dude, you do this shit with every question. Like every single thing I say, you just try to dodge it. Like, this is not even a personal question. I just want to hear your opinion. So once again, who are the top 5 pickup artists according to you?
I don't know how that's relevant.
Because you're making a point that you're saying that John isn't good, that I overvalued him. So I want to get an idea of people that you actually think are good. I want to see what is kind of the.
I made that claim was I compared John with the other people on your list, and I said there's something that seems to be missing with John, and that's
Okay. Sort of, I want to see who is on your top 5 list, because I want to see, who you're comparing John to. So give me.
I told you I was comparing him to the people on your top 5 list.
Okay. Are you just going to refuse to answer this question? Like, you just can't tell me who your top 5? Like, it's really that hard of a question for you?
I just don't see the relevance unless you can connect the dots.
Okay, dude, it takes fucking 20 seconds to answer the question. Just answer the question. Stop dodging.
What am I dodging? You have to demonstrate that I'm dodging a topic or making.
Oh my God, dude. You've dodged like literally almost every question. Like, I don't understand why you're just incapable of answering questions. It's really not that fucking hard to like fucking answer a simple question. Oh, I think this guy and this guy and this guy. Again, I want to see who you said that you think that, I was wrong about Tyler. So I want to see who's the,
I didn't name the names. I've already named the names. I said it's based on your list, which is.
No. But is that your list? Do you agree with my list?
I do agree that these people are better than John. Yes.
No. But that wasn't the question. I want to see who's the top 5.
I don't know who the top 5. You're the expert, bro.
I know what I think. Everyone knows what I think because I made a video on it. I want to see what you think.
I would say that most of the people on your top 5 list appear to have some good level of skill set, and I didn't see the same level of skill set in John. That's it.
Okay, so you think the 4 other people deserve to be in the top 5 pickup artists?
Yeah, I think they are. I think they're reasonable. Yeah, I think it's not like the worst list in the world. It's a pretty reasonable list. Yes.
But are they at the very top of their craft?
I could only speculate, and I would say probably Marcus Wolf is in that category if I had to speculate.
Okay, so Marcus Wolf is the very top. Who are the next 4?
I don't know. That's just speculation.
Okay, I want to hear your speculation. I want to hear your opinion.
Just Marcus, really. That would be the one that I would speculate is probably worthy to be in the top 5 list.
Okay, so who are the other 4 in the top 5 list?
I don't know.
you cannot name anyone but one person who belongs on the top 5 list?
Yeah. I mean, I'm hesitant to even name him, but that's my speculation. Yeah.
Okay, so you're saying like, well, I'm speculating that he's in the top 5. Well, I don't really know. But then when it comes to John, you're saying he is not in the fucking top 5. This guy sucks.
If you wanted me to, like, I think like Marcus Wolf is perhaps. I speculate he would be in a tier of his own. And then if you wanted some other type of list, maybe I would put, as you already know, probably Julian, Tyler, and Denton somewhere in another list. Yeah.
Okay, so you think Julian, Tyler, and Denton would be better than like Austin Summers?
I think that'll be about around the same mark.
Okay, I mean, yeah, dude. I don't know what to say besides the fact that you have like close to no idea what you're talking about. And yeah, I mean, you can take my word for it or not take my word for it, but like, dude, like it's pretty obvious with a lot of the things you say that you don't have any kind of baseline to actually pick from. And you're just way off about a lot of the things that you say. Where do you think RSD where do you think Tyler belongs on this list? What do you think Tyler is?
I don't know. I'm not going to rank them like that.
Well, you said that I was wrong about Tyler. You said that he's, I don't give him enough credit. So I want to see where he's on your list.
Again, I'm not even going to repeat myself because it's already on record.
Okay, so once again, where's Tyler on this list?
I've already answered the question. I said I'm not.
No, you haven't. You haven't told me where you think Tyler is on that list. I'd like to get an answer without you dodging or deflecting.
I don't answer. I said I'm not going to rank them like that.
Why?
Marcus Wolf is probably in a tier of his own, and then the others I would all put in like a big group.
Wait, you're saying that you know that John is not in the top 5, so you're comfortable rating John, but you're not comfortable rating RZ Tyler?
No. Again, I'm just saying based on the evidence that John has given in this specific section of his product that it just doesn't appear to me he's on the same level as the others.
Okay, that is based on your that is based on your opinion of his infield, right? It's not based on any kind of like objective metric, like something that can be verifiable. It's just solely based on your opinion of his infield. So I don't understand why you're so comfortable rating John and saying like, yo, like, yeah, he's like definitely like not in the top 5 because of what I've seen, but you cannot tell me where RSD Tyler is on this list.
I already have. I rest of your list is from my infield is at least better than John. So I've already granted that.
Okay, he's better than John, but where is he? He's in the top 5, top 10? Where's he at?
I don't know. I've already answered. I've been.
Okay, just answer it again because your audio sucks and I couldn't hear you. So maybe
I said Marcus would be a tier of his own, and then there would be another tier where I would group everyone high. But I don't know if they would be the top 5, but they would be very high.
Okay, so Tyler would be in the top 5, but he wouldn't be as good as Marcus.
Well, he would be very high, but I'm not. I don't really want to speculate even about Marcus Wolf per se. I'm just doing it.
Look, you have no problem speculating about John, but you don't want to speculate about other people.
That's because I can look at everyone's infield video, all of the 5, and I can compare it with John, and I can see there is obviously a disparity.
Well, right, that is your opinion. That's not an objective metric.
You can say anything is my opinion.
No, there are some things that are there. No, there's some things that are objective. It is objective. For example, if we assume that John is, telling us the truth, that his late count is higher than all these other guys, right? Like if we're assuming that's not like up for debate, assuming what he's saying is true, right? But whether something is better or worse, this is like you and I go to a restaurant. You think the food sucks. I think the food is good. That's not an objective thing. That is both of our opinions, right? So yeah, like there is a difference between something being someone's opinion and something being objective, right? So that is your opinion that his infield sucks, which is fine. You're entitled to have your opinion, but it just seems kind of like bizarre that like you're willing to take such a strong position on him, but you're unwilling to take any kind of definitive position on literally anyone else. So just that to me seems like you just fucking hate John for whatever reason.
I have taken the minimal definitive position of everyone else that you had in your the other four. I said that based on what they have shown. In
You literally said, dude, I don't like ranking people. You literally said, oh, I don't really want to rank someone.
That is correct. I don't want to rank now. I don't want to rank like top 20, top 10, top 5. All I've said is that I've seen enough evidence from the other ones that they're better than John. But you keep saying that there's only these sort of metrics of outcomes such as lay count, phone numbers, and such. And so if you view social dynamics like that and you're a coach, it means that probably your social skills are not that good because you actually think everything else is a subjective opinion other than those supposedly objective metrics. And I think that's a massive problem.
Yeah, I think that objective metrics are much more important than someone's opinion. So I think that someone's, I don't know, like you're like some objective metric, like, I don't know, how much money the marketing expert can deliver for its clients is much more important than whether you like his marketing strategy, especially if you're someone who doesn't really know much about marketing. Yeah, absolutely. I think objective metrics are much more important. Now, lay count is not the only metric. There's other, empirical metrics. We have to look at, hotness of the girls, whether, what country he was in, what the, whether he's had relationships, good relationship with any of the girls. There's other like fucking, metrics. But yeah, I think objective metrics, 100% all day, every day, trump someone's opinion about their infield.
Well, how I don't understand. So, like, how are you giving, for example, on these speed dates, you're giving game coaching, but then the coaching that you're giving is not based on the objective metric other than the end question.
It's not an the only objective metric, the only semi
student, you're literally telling them your subjective interpretation of
the only real
final metric.
Yeah, the only semi-subjective metric is where the girl says yes, no, right? That's the only semi-subjective metric. You're right. When I give them advice, hang on, stop. Hang on, I'm going to finish. Hang on. When I give them advice, you are right. That is my opinion. That is not an objective metric. That is my opinion. And sometimes I occasionally disagree with the girls. Now, I would argue that my opinion has a high degree of accuracy because I've been doing this for a very long time. I have a lot of experience in this field. But yes, it's not an objective metric. It is my opinion.
Okay, so basically, how useful was it going to be if you really are not convinced of your own advice and you think it's only at the level of an opinion, and the only real objective metric there is you said whether she says semi-objective metric is whether she says yes or no, whether it's platonic or romantic.
I mean, I'm not going to be delusional and think. I mean, I would have to be delusional to think that the advice I give is some kind of like verifiable objective metric. It's not. It's my opinion. Now, it's a very accurate opinion, I think, because it's based on a lot of experience, but it is an opinion. It's not some objective fact. And if I was saying it is an objective fact, then I would be delusional.
Okay, so I'm happy that you admitted that because I think that should mean that your prospective customer base should take this sort of less seriously than they do take it initially, at least.
What? I don't understand what you're talking about. What?
I mean, you're saying it's just so I'm saying your prospective customer base should be made well aware of that, and that if they knew that, maybe they would
they should be made aware of what?
They should be made aware of that everything other than those final questions, all of your feedback is just an opinion, and that it doesn't really hold.
That is common fucking sense. Everyone knows that except you. Did you think that my opinion is some like objective metric that can be verifiable?
I mean, it should be as someone who is supposedly an expert on dating.
How can it be how can it be objective? It's my feedback on their performance. How could that be verifiable?
I mean,
how can that be objective? Like, what in the world are you even talking about?
the question is, when you give them feedback,
How could
how
any
useful
coach?
is it?
How could any coach like your fucking bud buddy RSD Tyler? How could he give like objective feedback in that situation? It is his opinion, and it's my opinion. Now, some opinions are a lot more valuable than others, sure, but at the end of the day, it's not something that can be verifiable by like a third party. It is an opinion.
Okay, yeah, I think that basically, if you take the view that you're taking, then basically there is no normative standard of social cues, subcommunications that we can determine are an objective basis of social communication. And then we're only stuck in the world of opinion, and your advice is really just another opinion among millions, if not thousands of
Well, no,
opinions.
because my opinion is a lot more valid than all those thousands and millions of opinions because I have a lot more experience than all those people, right? So, yeah, my opinion has a lot more validity and weight to it. And there's also a lot of other opinions that will like agree with me, right? So when you have something like that, it's like, yeah, I'm like, we're like 99.9% sure this opinion is valid, but it
Okay,
is still an opinion.
I want to
It's
bring
still
you back to earlier when you said
It
you
is
said
still an
quantity
opinion.
doesn't matter.
Stop,
You were
stop.
attempting to
Stop, shut
disqualify
up, shut up.
Denton based on a lack of quantity. Okay, you can keep slinging over like an ignoramus,
Okay, I'm gonna
or you
finish
can
my
listen to
statement,
the
and then you can
point,
talk.
and
It
we
is
can
still
go and
stop,
point out
stop.
that you're the one who actually dismissed quantity earlier, specifically when it came to Denton's experience. You said quality over quantity. Now you're appealing to quantity being
Okay,
a valid metric.
I'm
Which
gonna
one
say
is it?
what I was about to say, and I'm not gonna engage with what you're saying, and then we can engage with what you're saying. But yeah, like stop fucking interrupting me. So again, the point I was trying to make is that at the end of the day, it is still an opinion. It can be a very valid opinion. It's an opinion that I think should be listened to, but it is not some objective metric that can be verified by a third party. Okay, you can now say whatever the fuck you want to say.
I think everything that needs to be said has been said. So if there is no normativity of social standards, social settings, social cues, then the fact of the matter is that your opinion, no matter regardless of experience, is just an opinion. That's what it comes down to.
Duh.
Before you use quantity, you dismiss quantity when it came to Denton. You said quality over quantity. Then just now, you've appeared to quantity of experiences as somehow making your opinion more
No.
legitimate. But if I want to appeal to quantity of experiences as making a dating
No.
coach more legitimate,
It,
then I can appeal to
it doesn't
opinion.
matter. It's the fact that I've had a lot of successes. So if I've been going out for 10 years and I was still a virgin, the quantity would not matter.
Every dating coach has a lot of successes, well, allegedly.
No, there's a lot of dating coaches who don't have a lot of success with women. But anyway, so it's more about the fact that I've actually been with like hundreds of girls and like I know what women want. I know what I'm looking for, right? Like sure, quantity is cool, but if that quantity is not leading to positive outcomes, if you're always failing, then how is it going to help you be, like a good judge of like whatever?
That distinguishes a dating coach from an average person or a person with less
Do you
social
think
skills.
do you think all dating coaches are successful with women?
No, but I do trust the claim, at least, that Denton actually does quantity, whereas you are more concerned with your relationship and with your business.
You're
he
so
actually
like
has a
focused
quantity of
on
experiences.
Denton. It's like kind of bizarre. Okay, once again? So you don't think you don't think all dating coaches are successful with women?
I don't think all dating coaches are equal, but obviously some dating coaches actually proactively approach and accumulate reference experiences, and they have a lot more success to discern this
Okay,
from. And some
but
dating coaches are smart enough to know that not everything is just a subjective interpretation when it comes to social feedback. That's a foolish opinion that diminishes your own expert opinion.
Dude, can you explain to me how a dating coach, when it comes to like evaluating a speed date and giving feedback, would have an objective opinion?
Can you repeat?
Can you explain to me how a dating coach, let's take your bud buddy RSD Tyler, when it comes to evaluating a speed date or like giving feedback on a speed date, how he could have an objective opinion? I mean, sorry, how he could make an objective statement when he gives feedback? How could it be 100% objective instead of just being his opinion?
That's interesting because aren't you the one who sort of gave some sort of explanation as to at least explain why your opinion is better than
I'd like
another
to,
opinion?
instead of going on a monologue or tangent, I'd like to get an answer to my question. So once again,
that is the answer to the question. If someone's answer is better than someone else's answer, if someone's opinion is more based than someone else's opinion who has less experience and less based, then obviously there is more objectivity to the person with the better opinion, with the more based opinion. I mean, obviously.
right, but we're talking about objective versus someone's opinion. So you're saying if someone has a lot of opinion, their opinion is completely objective. There's zero chance they could be wrong.
Of course, someone can be wrong, but
Okay.
the question
Well,
is,
if someone can be wrong, then it is an opinion. It's not objective. Objective statement is the sky is blue. An opinion is the fact that I don't know is that this restaurant tastes good.
Someone can claim they got a lay count. They can claim they got numbers. Of course, they can still be wrong. That doesn't make it their
Right, but you can
opinion.
verify. These are things that can be verified. So a lay count is
they're
something.
not. Don't fucking bullshit. You cannot verify lay count. That's nonsense. That's John
Okay,
Anthony
look,
nonsense.
you can do lie detector tests. You can, for example, show photos of you with every girl. It is, I understand it's like kind of hard to verify, but these are things, these are objective statements that can be verified. They're not opinions. You're talking about opinions.
Dude, that is very bizarre. Even you don't know your own lay count. You said between 300 to 500 or something like that. How the fuck are you gonna verify that?
It is an objective fact that my lay count is between 300 and 500. But it is not an objective fact that the feedback I gave on that speed date is correct. I think there's a high likelihood it's correct, but that's not an objective fact. It is my opinion. I don't understand why you're so confused about the difference between opinions and like objective facts. It seems like you're confused about like basic mathematics, like these like simple concepts, bro. I don't know, man. I think instead of like talking shit, I would just like go back to middle school or something.
Okay, that's a cool nig, bro. Good on you.
Are you British?
Good work. No.
You're not? Where's your accent from?
From Australia and New Zealand.
Oh, okay, an Aussie. And what's your link count?
300 to 500, bro.
You answered my question about where you're from. That wasn't relevant. So why can't you answer this question? That's what I thought. Okay, nice try. But yeah, man, I'll see you in the comments. I'm sure you'll still be talking shit. Yeah, I don't know, man. I think.
Well, thank you for coaching us on how your opinion is just an opinion. I appreciate that. Catch you later.
Yeah, of course, an opinion. This guy said, "Thanks for coaching us. How your opinion is an opinion." Of course, my opinion is an opinion. What a dumb fuck.